This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Oakland Athletics.
Rooker, it's a fly ball to deep center. Robert going back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Adolis Garcia swings on the other way. That sends Carroll back. He's at the wall. And the legend grows. Ronald Acuna, another milestone in a truly historic season.
Julio with an absolute nuke out to left field.
It's Glaber Day. And like a good Glaber, Torres is there.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe. From humidors to Stuff Plus to walk-off dingers, we have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
We ready to go today, A's fans? I know I am. It's always better when you're winning. And yes, to quote the great Lou Brown, one of the great managers in the history of baseball, for the Cleveland Indians back in the day, you might have saw him in Major League One, Major League Two. Was Lou Brown a part of Major League Three? I did not see that.
I don't think so. I've never seen the movie.
Neither have I. So I'm just going to say the great Lou Brown, who managed the Indians in Major League One and Major League Two. Yes, you win 3 in a row. It's a win streak. It has happened before.
Such an iconic line from that movie.
Huh?
Iconic line from
3 in a row, back from the dead.
Not in last place, right? Isn't the Astros now?
Well, I have to ask this because it has been brought to my attention by one of our very loyal A's Cast Live fans. Very loyal. Someone who texts me a lot.
Greg from Slow?
No, it wasn't Greg from Slow. Greg from Slow panics like every game. I get texts every game. He panics. Oh, get the bullpen up. Like, you guys are like bullpen panic guys.
Bullpen's been great, by the way.
At some point, people got to pitch. Starters got it. Whoever takes the ball, we're not even calling them starters anymore. Whoever takes the ball first has to give you innings, even if he gives up some runs. It just has to happen. I don't even care if he had the day off before, whatever. You got to get innings. It's a long season. Don't burn your bullpen out early. But it's been brought to my attention. If you don't know, we played it yesterday, but the Mark Kotze show, we had to get up really early Saturday morning because it's almost like we were working on the stock market where you got to get up really early because everything is based off East Coast time. Mark Kotze wanted to do the show early in Detroit, which means we had to do the really early show Saturday morning. We had to get up early. Why would we get up early on Saturday morning to tape the manager at his convenience? Well, we couldn't do it on Friday because they were having opening day in Detroit, so they had an early game. It was a 1 o'clock start. Totally understandable.
Eastern.
1 o'clock Eastern. So it's 10 our time.
Yeah, 10.
So we had to so we couldn't do it. So we did it Saturday, and we had to do it early. You know why we got up early Saturday morning to tape Mark Kotze? Do you know why?
Because the manager asked us to?
Because we're company men. You see it on Twitter. We're company hacks. So, yeah, we had to get up early Saturday morning. But since we got up Saturday morning, by the way, that's just a joke about people ripping us on Twitter. Team's undefeated since we did Mark Kotze Saturday morning. I am superstitious. I believe in everything. If anything makes me feel better, play better, look better, I'm in. If I have to wear dirty socks, dirty underwear, I will do it to win games. I'll do anything to win. And yes, I would put snot on the ball.
You put snot on the baseball?
You put snot, little jalapeno juice. Speaking of Major League. Yeah, we're undefeated since we taped Mark Kotze, by the way.
That's 3 in a row.
Saturday morning.
For those counting at home.
Undefeated.
Well, I mean.
So what does that mean? What if the A's win today? What if the A's win Thursday and we get to Friday at the Coliseum from our nation's capital? Here come the Nats. What are we going to do? You're going to trot Mark Kotze out on Friday and break what we got going? Do you have the guts to tell Mark Kotze we're gonna break this, whatever it is, you're gonna stop it?
You're usually the one that handles him. I handle the booking with David Forrest.
That's right. I do handle Kotze, don't I? I don't have the guts to do it. I mean, it's going to be like, hey, we'll go Saturday morning. I'll get up if we keep winning. I'll get up Saturday morning. I mean, even if there's a loss in there, the A's win like 5 of 6. How do you stop that? That's a pretty good streak for the A's. We may start having Mark Kotze everybody. We're going to have to get up. All of you, us, we're all going to have to get up Saturday morning. We'll run it live. We can go live Saturday morning. 6:30 a.m. Welcome to the Mark Kotze Show. He's an early riser. He doesn't sleep. I don't think people realize this stuff, man. These guys don't sleep. Bob Melvin didn't sleep. I remember Melvin would be texting me during the post-game show. I mean, this was back with no pitch clock, by the way, and these games were 3 hours and 30 minutes, and he'd text me late at night, and next thing you know, he'd be up early in the morning. I'm like, when do you sleep? These guys don't sleep during the season. You want to know the dedication that these people have? They give up sleep. It's crazy. Mark Kotze's up early. I'm like, how are you up early? You're not getting home till after midnight. I walked out from doing the post-game show during our homestand. I remember what night Mark's got his son with him, and he's in his truck, and I didn't know it was him. All here's Towny. And I look over. Oh, what's up, Kotz? What were you talking about on the show? And I told him we were talking. It was after a loss, so he was interested. And I know he's getting up at like 6 a.m. I mean, what are you getting? 4 hours? It's like John Gruden. It's like John Gruden. It's like sleep 3-4 hours, and that's it. And you're back at it.
Did Gruden go home or did he sleep in the office?
Well, I didn't get Gruden. I didn't have Gruden. That was the first time around. I think Gruden slept a little more second time around. First time around, I didn't have Gruden then. Yeah, Gruden, that's the old thing about how Rich Gannon went to the Alameda office and didn't have his whatever to get. I think it was a key at that point. I mean, you're talking about a whole different world. I don't know if they had the passes, the
fobs or cards,
the badges to let you know. He had to throw rocks up at the window. John Gruden at like 4 a.m. He's in there watching film. What are you watching at 4 a.m.? I have no idea. It's a sweep. Same. Block, pull a guard. I mean, it's the same thing. I don't know what you need to be doing at 4 a.m. But yeah, these guys don't sleep. It's pretty crazy. We have an unbelievable show for you today because the star of yesterday's game, see, most people, it's tough to get those guys, but that's why you watch A's Cast Live. We do have Shea Langeliers. Will be joining us from Texas at 2:30. Let everybody know. Bob Nightengale from the USA Today, longtime friend of this program and all the different radio stations I've been on doing A's. He'll be here at 3. And I don't know why I'm pointing at you, but I am. And then Paul Hembekides. Do we have the book anywhere?
It's somewhere out here. That's his old book.
Best-selling author. You see him on Get Up, the morning show on ESPN, top ESPN talent. He puts together all the facts, the stats, the data for Sunday Night Baseball, Monday Night Football for ESPN. Always lucky to have him. Hembo, Paul Hembekides, will be here at 4 o'clock.
Do you have the guts to ask him why Turner and Castellanos are killing your fantasy team?
Killing me. I'm in last place. And I'm in last place with guys who have names.
And don't tell me it's early, because it's not early.
The back of the baseball card, my ass. These guys aren't hitting. Trey Turner has not hit a home run. Nick Castellanos has not hit a home run. How many games are we in now?
At least 12.
No home run, 0 dingers. Castellanos is not even hitting. He's not even hitting his son's weight. Remember his son was at the games last year? Remember all that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess he went through a divorce, something like that. But his sons are there. Nicholas Castellanos is not even hitting his son's weight. Forget about his weight with no dingers. I've got problems. At least I have the guts to go with youth because I believe in our future and our youth. Jackson Chirios is my new guy. I'll go with the I'm going to pick up J.J. Bleday. Is he out there?
Probably.
Remember, it was my birthday when these clowns drafted, so I had the computer pick, and the computer picked terrible for me. Awful.
I don't run the league, but I'm just saying, I mean, we're going to hold up the draft for one guy and the other 11 were available. I mean, that just doesn't seem right.
Well, I was supposed to be working that night also. The rest of the other 11, you don't work. And
No,
you guys,
10, Amelia was working.
Yeah, the rest of you guys were not at spring training working. The rest of you guys are getting paid sitting at home. So we have a great show for you. A lot of info today we need to get into. We going to play the Verlander cuts?
Verlander, we got I got the Bassick from yesterday if we want to play.
Yeah, we're breaking some ground. I did some investigating, and I got a little more in depth today on what we were talking about yesterday, which still is the biggest story in baseball, the epidemic of pitchers getting hurt. And I got a little more clarity on it. I did a little journalism today, did a little investigating, did a little digging, and found out some stuff that I think a lot of people need to know. And, this is another case of baseball not getting ahead of something, and then all of a sudden it just gets out of hand, and then they got a problem. They didn't get ahead of the PED era. They could have. They didn't. They didn't, this goes way back. A lot of you probably who watching this show don't remember this. I was a little kid when it was going on. But there was a major drug problem in baseball back in the day and in all sports, right? Cocaine was flowing in the 80s. All you got to do is watch any type of documentary on Colombia and Pablo Escobar. And you know what was happening in the 80s in this country? Baseball didn't get ahead of when baseball, the juice baseballs. Baseball didn't get ahead of it. Verlander's going to talk about the juice baseballs here and how juice baseballs had to change how you pitched. Well, this is not juice baseball. This is the foam. This is the baseball that our broadcasters throw out from the.
Here, this might be a juice baseball.
Here's a juice baseball. I don't know what year this is, but these not a whole lot of seams here. But essentially what Verlander's going to tell you is guys put the ball in play, the ball was going out. I mean, there was nothing more ridiculous in 2019. And, I like Matt Chapman a lot, but that's not who he really is. Whether that was the year he had 35 bombs.
36, I think it was.
36. And, that playoff series against the Astros in 2020 at Dodger Stadium where any ball that hit a bat was going out. It was like, this is ridiculous.
What was
right?
it? It was like 24 home runs hit in that
series.
It was
ridiculous. Dodger Stadium used to be a pitcher's ballpark. Now, they always had great pitching back in the day, but it was a pitcher's ballpark. The series was played during the day, but still it was a pitcher's ballpark. I mean, when Chad Pender hit that ball down the right field line, when he fell down, not Adrian Beltre off his back knee on the ground. He fell down and hit one out to Oppo Field. You're like, whoa, man, come on. Love me some Chi, but that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember that series because that was really, obviously it was during COVID, but yeah, those balls were flying out. I remember that home run. There were home runs hit by guys that aren't home run hitters that were hitting.
So pitchers had to change, right? You had to literally, I can't get the ball in play. I got to strike everybody out. And that's kind of how my conversation went today that I will get into. But how we need to start this show, real quick, I'm looking at the lineup, and it's like, really? I don't mean to be Debbie Downer, but we're going to keep running Toro out there as a leadoff guy. I know Noda's hurt right now. Freak thing happened with the slider machine yesterday. But you're still running Toro out there hitting $158. And then, worse than that, Tyler Nevin's hitting 5th today. Tyler Nevin's hitting 5th. Now, once again, we've seen it in the past. We'll have to ask David on Friday. I just, Ruiz gets sent down. Nevin gets brought up. And you're going to keep running him out there. But Tyler Nevin's hitting 5th for you today, and he's got a 311 OPS. That's a combined. Your on base and your slugging are combined, and it's 311.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not Francisco Lindor bad.
And he's not good in the outfield. So, what do we do? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not. When I told you, I said, hey, take a look at the lineup, and then you kind of like,
I was like, what?
And then Toro leading off. So, I know they're playing the split matchups, and, because Bradford's on the mound and lefty, righty, and all that, but I don't know. SC with the home run last night, by the way. He's doing pretty well in AAA.
Yeah. Don't even get me started. I just Toro hits the one home run, and then all of a sudden, that's the one thing. It's like, that's when it shows a value of a home run just changes your numbers. It changes. It's like it inflate it. Home runs can really inflate who you are. But anyway, the number one story, obviously, is Shea Langeliers. We will have Shea for you at 2:30. In the meantime, you got to give props to what wins games. What wins games? Run prevention. Run prevention, run prevention, run prevention. That's what wins in this sport. You've got to keep the other team from scoring. You keep the other team from scoring, you got a chance. If the other guy or the other team scores, now you're in a shootout. We don't want to play shootouts. Run prevention. The Oakland A's rotation has a 2.76 ERA over the last 6 games. That's a drastic improvement because the first 5 games it had a 9.14, looking like last year, which we will ask Shea Langeliers about. Last 6 games, 2.76. Let's go to even better. That's the bullpen. We mentioned it to you yesterday, but the bullpen has been fantastic. The last 7 games, 1.57. There you go. Why are the A's competitive? Why are the A's now winning? Why all of a sudden is no one going to start talking about, they're going to have the worst record in the history of baseball like we were doing last year? Because all of a sudden they're 4-7. You win, you're 5-7 tonight. This is a different narrative than last year. This is a different deal. A bullpen with a 1.57 ERA. Early, okay, but all I can go on is what we have seen so far. And this bullpen, pretty damn good so far. So you're pitching, and defensively, I don't need everybody to be Brooks Robinson and Ozzie Smith and Roberto Alomar. Don't need that. I just need you to pick up what's in front of you. That's all I need. Make the routine play, help this pitching staff out, and look what happens. You become a competent and a competitive baseball team.
Yeah, and I want to give a lot of credit. Alex Wood left the game with calf cramps. Mitch Spence comes in, goes 3 innings, allows 1 run. I mean, he's been great so far for the A's out of the bullpen. I mean, Kyle Mahler's been great out of the bullpen. The bullpen has the 7th best ERA in baseball. We had to go back a few years, but when was the last time we could say our bullpen had the 7th best ERA in baseball? I know we're only, how many games in? 11, but still, that's a dramatic change from what happened last year.
And Mason Miller,
first career save.
This is what I want to see. And guess what? Mason Miller, I only want to see him in these type of games. If we're going to handle these guys like precious jewels, antiques, whatever's precious that you're afraid is going to break, I do not want to see him in a losing effort, and I don't care if he hasn't thrown. He hasn't thrown in 3 days. I've seen Mason Miller throw. Our guys and all pitchers today, they throw guys before the games. They'll just get on the mound, have some. So basically what you want is create feel, right? No different than tennis players go out and they bang some balls before they play. Golfers, obviously, Masters Week. That's why I have the Masters gear on. We will have Masters gear on all week to honor Masters Week, one of the great American sporting events. And we will ask Shea Langeliers about the Masters also. But that's why you hit balls before it's your warm-up, right? And so what we do with our relievers, you don't get to see it because it's super early. These guys will get out there because Mark Kotze, we've told you, Mark Kotze will be given a list. Every manager gets this from their front office. They're given a list. They go, here's your list. This is who's available today. And each guy is ranked differently. I know exactly what it looks like because Bob Melvin showed me. And guys that are available, guys that we don't want you to use, but if you need to use them, okay. And then there's the guys that no way can you use them. So that's when position players end up pitching. When you're down to can't use these guys at all, they are off limits. That's when the position players come in, when it gets out of hand. But you're each manager every day of every organization is giving it because they're worried about the workloads, right? This is all now really coming to light with all the injuries of how they've tried to deal with the injuries, right? They're trying to create what they hope is a game plan to keep guys healthy. We think it's about keeping guys fresh. It's about can we manage the workload? We're going to try our best. So that's what these managers are given. Mason Miller, I don't want to ever see Mason Miller pitching when the A's, they lose 4 in a row. Mason Miller shouldn't pitch because he's going to get some time and some feel down in the bullpen anyway. If you're telling me he's this precious, I only want to see him in wins. And if they start playing more like this, it's going to be in more games than you think. And that whole comp to Jason Isringhausen is so coming true. Like, this could be your path to making a lot of money and having a really good career, Mason Miller. And you're arguably more valuable than, because when you start, you don't stay healthy. And when you start, they start bringing up, should we pitch him every 6 days? And I really don't know how valuable you are if you only compete basically once a week in our game. And at best, 5-6 innings.
Yeah, that's in the high end sometimes. So it's 5-6 innings.
That's such a small percentage of your participation. Best ability is availability, and if you're only available one time a week for only part of that one game, you're not very valuable. And they've sold us all for years. But what about the playoffs? You got to be eligible to play. Like, that's nonsense. I need a guy who's healthy. I need a guy who participates a lot, gives me a better chance to win. And this is the role for Mason Miller. It was great to see. Just come in, let it rock, 3 outs, that's it, and you're done. Fastball, breaking ball, all you need, and just go attack. Be on attack mode. I'm better than you. Here you go. Is he going to blow some saves? Sure, it happens. But I like what I saw last night. That's the role I want to see him in. Find him some old school rock music so everybody can go crazy when he comes in, and let's go.
I'll have to ask our guys and gals in the control room, what is his song when he comes into pitch? And what you said is you don't want to see him pitching losses, is you're going against our guy BK. BK says he likes the idea of having your closer pitch when you're trailing by 1 or 2 runs to keep the game close. So, but I get it with Miller because you want to keep him healthy, or, he made the point with Josh Hader. So yeah, I'm with you. I think you pitch him to keep him healthy only in games when you're trying to win.
Because our situation's different. We don't think there's going to be 90 wins. BK's talking about somebody who's on a team that wins 100 games. 90 games. Maybe in the, like, we're talking about trying to win over 65. Right? I need this guy to pitch in games that matter. Because what happens if he's not there? What happens if you've burned him, as we saw on that homestand? You don't have him or Danny Jimenez. Oh, what? That can't happen. That cannot happen. Those 2 guys need to be there when it matters. And if you have a game where, like, let's say Texas gets out there tonight and beats up on the A's, well, then so be it. You wear it and you keep those guys out. If they've got to go an extended period of time of not throwing, throw them, just give them some feel on the side, give them in these little soft bullpens, however you want to classify it. But throwing them in games that don't matter, that is just not, I can't agree with it. As Mike Singletary once said, can't do it.
I don't think you're wrong. I think it's a smart play with Mason is to keep him out.
By the way, another blown save for the Rangers last night. Remember how everybody, Bruce Bochy is the bullpen whisperer. Did you know Rangers were the first team to reach the postseason with more blown saves, 33, than saves, 30, last year in 2023. More blown saves than saves. First time ever a team blew more saves than had saves in a season.
Well, remember, Mike Bassick told us yesterday, essentially in the playoffs, it was, who was it? It was Eovaldi, Montgomery, Spores, and Leclerc. And that's
Spores and Leclerc were the bullpen, yeah.
Yeah, and Leclerc blew it last night. So, I mean, it's not I mean, this is like par for the course for Bruce Bochy and the Rangers right now. I mean, it's not foreshadowing they're going to go to the World Series, but they got to get things figured out. And they don't have Montgomery now to bank on getting innings for them, and a lot of their guys are hurt. And they think some of these guys are going to come back later in the season, like DeGrom and Malley and Scherzer. But you got to get through these games now, and they already have that. What was it? 3 blown saves. I mean, that's in 11 games or so. That's not great.
Have you noticed Rooker not in the lineup again?
Well, he left the game the other day with what was the
abdominal,
yeah, and he's still not in the lineup. Yeah, how much longer do we wait until we see if he has to go on the injured list, or just give him these days off and see if he comes back on Friday at home against the Nats?
And you hate to see it too, because he popped a couple out, right? Because when you got a guy like Rooker who gets it going, right? Because Rooker's going to be streaky. Guys who hit home runs are streaky. That's why you got to ride them when they're streaking. And no, don't play the "we're going streaking" cut. But when a guy gets going good, you got to ride him, right? Because there's going to be times where he's not, and he strikes out a ton, But that happens when you hit bombs. When you start feeling it and seeing it, you need that guy in the lineup, because let's face it, you take Langeliers out of the lineup, and the rest of the lineup was 2 for 28 with 12 strikeouts. You take Langeliers out of yesterday's game, 2 for 28, 12 strikeouts. Langeliers was the hero of the game from the offensive side of the standpoint, from the offensive side of it.
Can you name the last catcher in A's history to have 3 home runs in a game?
Last A's catcher. I'm going to go with, is it obscure?
No, he's a Hall of Famer.
Oh, he's a Hall of Famer. I was going to have fun and go Landon Powell, because I always loved Landon Powell. Caught Dallas's Braden Perfect game. Hall of Famer. Mike Piazza?
No. I mean, it happened almost 100 years ago. It's like 99 years ago.
Who?
Mickey Cochran.
Oh, Mickey Cochran. Okay.
I mean, so I looked it up. The last catcher to have 3 home runs in a game was Michael Perez for the Pirates in 2022. I mean, you're looking at the list, and it's not like you're looking at Joe Mauer, Mike Piazza, Johnny Bench. You're looking at Michael Perez, Sebi Zavala, Kyle Higashioka, Travis d'Arnaud, Pedro Severino, Yasmani Grandal.
Mike Piazza's on this list. He's got to be.
He is. He did it in 1996.
Okay.
Johnny Bench and Gary Carter are both on here, but they're
Hall of Famers.
But I'm looking at more recently. It's all guys that you don't think of as big power hitters that had.
Pudge Rodriguez on that list.
Yes, he did it in 1997. It's only ever happened 41 times, and Mickey Cochran was the second guy to do it.
Does it say Dale Murphy?
Yeah.
It has to be a different Dale Murphy.
I would assume. I only played for the Braves, though, too.
What year was that?
1979.
Was Dale Murphy catching at the time? The great Dale Murphy, friend of the program?
In this game against the Giants.
It's got to be.
Yeah, Dale Murphy was 3 for 3 with 5 runs batted in.
By the way, on that list, the great Bobby Chestalea. You know him as Bobby Estalea, former Giant. Bobby Chestalea. Yeah, he was on PEDs? No, you don't say. That's an interesting. Joe Buck on that list. Victor Martinez. 3 home runs in a game is incredible, man. It's incredible.
I mean, the last
3 different times you leave the yard. I mean, the stuff, we're going to talk to him in just a second. The stuff being at home, I mean, I don't care where you are. I mean, to hit 3 home runs is absolutely incredible.
Who was the last A's player to hit 3 home runs in a game?
If I had to bet my move, God, if I had to bet, I'm either going to go Chris Davis or I'm going to go Matt Olson.
Oh, it happened recent. It happened last year at Yankee Stadium. That'd be Jordan Diaz did it at Yankee Stadium.
That's right. Remember after that? See the bat. How's he doing at trips?
I'd have to look at the stats. I've just been following what Este's been doing, and I've been seeing what Soderstrom's been doing. I keep seeing highlights of Este on.
I played a couple of Soderstrom home runs in the 5th, which is good news.
Yeah, but hey, as long as he's hitting the ball, that's all that matters.
I haven't checked in our old Las Vegas Aviators in the past couple of days. Fran got off to a rough start. Let's just got to call it as we see it. I mean, I would never bet against a man that is a leader the way he is, but they've gotten out to a little bit of a rough start.
What are they on the season? Like 2-4 or something?
4 and
oh wow,
I'm seeing it right now. They are they're 2-7.
Oh, it's okay.
It's early.
It's early for them. It's early for Vegas.
At least they're not playing the Space Cowboys anymore.
Well, that's where Verlander. The audio we'll get to. That's where Verlander was. Where he was when he was given the sound bites at either the 4-minute answer to the question about pitching.
Hey, did you ever think in your illustrious career you'd be a space cowboy? All righty. Sody's hitting $188. That's not good.
3 home runs. Yeah.
Max Muncy 2.0s at he's hitting 345. Piscotty hitting 429.
Only 2 games, but yeah. I thought we for sure would see him at some point.
Brett Harris through 8 games hitting 296. Let's see. Who are you asking about?
Estes hitting 333 with a 1,009 OPS. 6 steals, 5 walks, 5 strikeouts, so he's getting on base. Just saying.
Oh, my God. Who are you asking about? You're at Soderstrom.
Well, Jordan Diaz. Jordan Diaz
hitting 207 games.
No home runs.
Yeah. It's a tough, man. I like Jordan Diaz. You like him a lot. You want to have that belief it's the bat, the future, and all that kind of stuff. But the problem is, as we have said many times here, doesn't have a position. And by the way, he's had a ton of at-bats as a professional. There was the at-bats as a young kid internationally, but he's had a lot of minor league at-bats. You're talking over 2,000. I mean, it's like he's at a point where you've given him a large amount of time. After this year, it is an extreme amount of at-bats. Not only has he had the at-bats in the big leagues, he's had them in the minor leagues.
He's already had, 30 this year in 7 games? 30 bats in 7 games.
If you go to his baseball reference page, you don't realize how many at-bats this guy's had. It's about the age. Well, I get the age, but for that many at-bats, 23 with a lot of at-bats. How do you judge that? With no position.
Yeah, that's the big thing is he doesn't have a position.
So he's got to hit like a monster, right? I mean, if you're going to have no position, I'll give you one, not fair, and this is not a comp. I'm just giving you an example. Edgar Martinez. Edgar Martinez sucked at third, but he could hit. So we're going to find every way to get him into the lineup.
There's another guy like that too. That TV analyst, Big Poppy, not a very good first baseman, but he could hit.
Yeah, but he was a power hitter, right?
Yeah.
So he was like your prototypical DH.
Oh, you're saying, yeah. So yes, Edgar. Yeah, Edgar's a good one.
Edgar was like, okay, you end up becoming a DH,
yes.
But you're like, I'm finding this guy just hits. Like you put him in the lineup, he hits. Find something for him. Put him somewhere. I mean, you hit, they will find a spot for you, right? I mean, that's just and somebody. That's an all-around, because Jordan Diaz doesn't project as a major power hitter.
No.
He projects as you want to think he can be an all-around hitter who has pop and who can extra base hits, and he can barrel it up, as they say. So where do you put him? Where he doesn't hurt you? Because you got to play defense. Part of your run prevention. He's got to play defense. So where are you going to put him?
They have him listed as DH on NTA with the Aviators.
And now this is kind of the problem for modern day baseball is that modern day baseball, I wouldn't say modern, where we are today in 2024, we like to use our DH as a versatile position, right?
Yes.
We don't necessarily want a guy who's playing every day at DH. You want to be able to say, Shea Langeliers, you need a day off, but we need your bat. You're DHing today. Rooker can be outfield, he can be DH. Seth Brown can be outfield, he can be DH. Like you want it to be a roving type deal. You don't want to be like every day we got. Now, if you have Big Poppy, no doubt. If you got a special bat like that, no doubt. Or if you acquire, you have, like how they used to do it. You get a Hall of Fame player who no longer is great defensively. He's older, but he can still hit. You're damn right I want Dave Winfield. You're damn right I want Reggie Jackson or George Brett or Paul Molitor. Yeah, Harold Baines. I'll take that any day of the week. But we haven't really seen that much of that. By the way, on my flight to Disneyland, Reginald Martinez-Jackson.
Astros, he works for the Astros now. He has some kind of title with them. But, yeah.
I saw Reggie on the flight, Southwest, heading to Orange County.
Did you talk to him?
No. What was I going to say?
We'll probably see him at the ballpark this year.
I wasn't going to be that guy. Hey, I interview you. And I wasn't going to be that guy. Reggie Jackson, by himself. God bless him. Was he like I love to see that. He's 76, 77.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Right? Reggie traveling by himself. Looks great. We were behind him. He was moving good.
77.
Yeah,
he's 78 this year.
Because I know he had a bad fall not that long ago. But when we saw him at the 73 celebration, he was looking good. I mean, we were there. We were there for really the last kind of Vita Blue embrace with Reggie Jackson right after that Vita Blue passed away. So many of our legends have passed away. It was great to, see Reggie. Hey, man, when I'm 76, I hope I'm getting around, traveling, being able to travel by myself like no big deal. I hope, because it doesn't work that way for everybody. So it was good to see Mr. October going through the airport at John Wayne in Orange County. Looking good. All righty. Earlier today from Globe Life Field, right? It's Globe Life Field, not Park.
The old one was Park.
Globe Life Field. Shea Langeliers, the star of yesterday's game, joined us right here on A's Cast Live. It's great to have you back on A's Cast Live. I would ask you how you're doing, but I know how you're doing after last night.
Yeah, last night was pretty special. I always love coming back to Texas, seeing friends and family, and just, love playing baseball here. So last night was pretty special for me.
Obviously hitting 3 home runs, it's a career night. And we'll get into the hometown stuff. But what does it mean to do what you did last night in a victory where your team needs these victories to get back going again?
Yeah, I think it just kind of shows you how crazy baseball can be. Some nights are, the whole offense is going, and some nights, luckily, I was that one guy that got it going last night, and the pitching staff did a great job keeping us in the game the whole way through. Obviously, the Texas Rangers have a great offense, and just kept us in the game and gave us a chance.
Now, obviously, you're still young in your career, and this is a newer ballpark. But obviously, it suits your eyes. Certain places, guys love to hit. I remember Jeff Bagwell, the Hall of Famer, once told me, he goes, I know people hate Candlestick Park, but I love it here. I just see the ball well. Is there something about this place where you see the ball better?
Maybe. I think it's more just, I guess I'm comfortable here, kind of the hometown, grew up coming to Rangers games. It's just, just love being back in hometown and seeing friends and family. So it's always a good time here.
Well, obviously you grew up close and you have a home there with your wife, and you get to sleep in your own bed. Just what's the experience like, the fact that you have performed so well since you first started coming to Texas and making your debut? Just what is that feeling like? Because some guys struggle when they go back home. You haven't.
Yeah, it's just, I guess it's just one of those things for me. It's just kind of not like a getaway, but in season, kind of getting to stay at my own house, sleep in my own bed, make breakfast with my wife in the morning, come to the ballpark. It's just, it feels comfortable. It's a nice routine to have, and it feels good. What's
the ticket amount going these days for all friends and family?
I think yesterday I got 10 tickets for some friends and family, and today I think it's at 12 or 13, but nothing too crazy.
Yeah, people don't realize, like, when you go back home, there's a lot that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
Who's handling it? Parents, wife, you? Who handles all the tickets and all the interactions?
My wife handles it. She's got the comp ticks, and it gets that all done.
Yeah, it's people don't understand. That's why some guys, like, they don't love coming back home during the season because it's like you got to deal with a lot. I'm proud of you guys. I really am proud of you guys from the standpoint of that was, we talked to all of you down at spring training, and you guys said this is a different team. Mm-hmm. I believed it. We all believed it. We all said it on this show over and over again. It's different. But then the homestand, and you start the season, and it looks just like it did last year. Got everybody a little bit worried, but you rallied. You went into Detroit. who started having a good season. You take 2 or 3, you win this one. Just what is the feeling like with the team now on this road trip?
Yeah, I think it's just, we're starting to build momentum. And I think it kind of started with the second day in Detroit. Just as a team kind of came together and let's just, relax, just go out there and play. Whatever happens, kind of, that takes the edge off and kind of relaxes you. And we just go out there and, leave it out on the field. Whatever happens from there. And we started playing good baseball. We're playing relaxed. We're having fun. And like I said, we're building momentum.
And lately you look at the numbers for the bullpen, talk about it. They've been fantastic.
Oh, they've been great. Just any situation they come into, there's a confidence about them right now. Obviously, I always have confidence in these guys. A great job executing pitches. They have a game plan. They know what they want to do, and they're just coming in. Like I said, with that confidence, and they know they're going to get the job done and keep us in games, give us chances to win.
Ray Fosse always taught me as a catcher, offense is great, but it's about your defense. It's about handling the staff. It's about handling your position. Love the way you've thrown the ball this year. You've been absolutely electric. Is there a little different? I know you were great last year, but is there a little difference in confidence? I mean, defensively, how are you feeling now this year, really settled in as the starter?
Yeah, I think the throwing's kind of taken a little uptick this year just because I've gotten away from the kickstand, kicking my leg out. So it's a little easier adjustment to be able to stand up and throw from just staying in the one knee down stance. And then the pitchers have done a great job holding runners. I'm just trying to get the signs into them as quickly as possible so they can mix up their holds. They have enough time on the clock to give the base runners different looks.
I mean, you think about you being on this show. I remember having you on when you were going to the Futures game, and we were talking about what that was like for you. Now, really, year 2 as a starter, what's different about you mentally, the mental side of baseball versus what we've seen the last few years?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference is definitely confidence, and you kind of know, I understand what to expect over the course of a whole season now. So just coming in, knowing what to expect, the confidence that, we're capable and able to, beat anybody on any given night. So, and when you go out there and you play relaxed and, you have fun, I mean, baseball's a game, man. We're supposed to have fun out there, laugh, have a good time. And when you're doing that, it seems like you're going to be in a position to win more games than not.
Now, we're just coming off the NCAA tournament. Now it's Masters week. I'm sure in the clubhouse there, you're going to have all the Masters going on the next couple days. Is there a Masters pool going on inside the clubhouse?
There is, yeah. It's going. We've got one going. I'm pretty big on Tiger, but I'm getting a lot of pushback on that one.
Hey, Jack Nicklaus back in the day. Phil Mickelson last year at 53 years old, finished second.
53.
So yeah, you never know. And that is the great thing. It's like you guys, whether it's tournament time with basketball or you guys, there is something about watching the other sports. Talk about how it's just kind of a release for you guys.
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely a release. It's kind of just, the March Madness, the Masters. It's just something to bring the guys together. We can watch it together and just be involved and talk about it. It gives us something other than baseball to talk about. So it's really good for us. Like you said, take our mind off of baseball a little bit and just something to bring the guys together.
Well, we always appreciate the time. This is really cool for you to come on before the game after a historic night for you. But you got a lot of these that are going to be coming your way in your future. But congratulations. I know it's huge to do it in front of your parents, the wife, the family, the friends, probably the in-laws too. It's very, very special. So keep it going. Love the way you guys are playing, and we'll see you back in Oakland.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. Thanks, Chris.
I might be wrong on that because according to you, it doesn't happen that often.
The 3 home run by a catcher.
By a catcher. Maybe what we saw was truly
historic.
I think he's going to hit a lot of home runs. Now, 3 home runs in a game, I don't know. But as we both said earlier this year, or did we say it in spring training? I could see him easily hitting 30-plus home runs. He's got 4 now. We're not even mid-April yet. He's got 4.
Yeah, and he had 22 last year.
He just has natural pop.
He's the fourth. It was only the 4th ace catcher to have 20 home runs in a season. So
I mean, he's got legit like if he hits 35 home runs. If he hits 35 home runs, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, I'm blown away by it. I'm like, yeah, I could see him 32 to 35 home runs. I could see him do. I mean, he's young. I could see him doing it a few times in his career. I mean, he's got that kind of power.
So
and that's the way the game is now, right?
So you're telling me this is the 2020 year could happen?
You had him as the greatest base stealer of all time as a catcher.
Because Fran told us he's a great athlete and he can run.
I mean, I still don't know how that works, but no, he's dynamic. He's got an absolute cannon for an arm. Cannon. And hitting home runs. I'll joke with Vince today. Vince said it earlier this year because it was like in the early part. Vince goes, he could be the all-star. I was like, whoa, we're talking all-stars already? But yeah, he could be the A's all-star player. I mean, the guy could have 15-plus home runs by the all-star break.
I think we need to add that to our list of things for next year. Who's going to be when we do like the predictions, and we're going to put who's the all-star.
When when should we be able to actually mention it? Because Brent Rooker's first part of the year got him on the radar with the players, and the players voted him in because he was not playing well like the month before the All-Star game.
I was after like May 12th or something.
Yeah, he really struggled, and he got voted in by the players. So it's like you have a good start, people notice, and that helps you out for the All-Star game, no question. To where we grind it to the very end, like who should be in the game. I mean, for some people, like the player, because what happens is inside the clubhouses, all the players are watching MLB Network. So if they highlight you, I think the biggest thing for Brent Rooker last year was him going on, what does it escape me? The morning show on MLB Network. I tape it.
Is it MLB Central?
MLB Central. Him going on with D-Row, and they played it, and they loved it, and Mark DeRosa loved it, and D-Row and they played it on all the different shows. Well, if you're an MLB player and you're constantly looking up at the screens in the clubhouse and it's on MLB Network and there's this A's guy, Brent Rooker, and he's with D-Row and it was a fascinating conversation, all of a sudden the players voted him in. You don't think that helped dramatically put him on the map?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Totally.
But also gave teams a scouting report on him and how to attack him at the plate, too. So it was a double-edged sword there in a way, right? Like pitchers are watching it. They know where not to throw the ball and pitch to him. I don't know. I'm just saying.
A little publicity hurts. You're saying you want to lay in the weeds like Shooty Babbitt the whole year? Where's Shooty Babbitt? I don't know. He's in the weeds. He's hiding somewhere scouting.
That's one of the greatest terms I've ever heard. I'm in the weeds.
He's in the bushes.
The bushes. The bushes.
Other guys say they're in the weeds. He's in the bushes. Now, I've played a lot of golf with Shooty, and yeah, he does hang out in the bushes. Ask him the last time he beat me. You know, he was a big leaguer. I'm just a public educated guy. I'm just a public school kid. Just trying to get through life. He was a big leaguer. Shooty Babbitt playing the big leagues. Ask him the last time he beat me.
What was the stat about him earlier this year with Darryl Hernandez? Like he was the youngest guy to steal a base since Shooty or something. I remember
opening day roster, wasn't it?
Maybe it was opening day roster.
Like, how did Shooty get up for 1 year and that was it? That was it. The game was much different. As I can tell you in looking at these 100 batting averages, 115, 161, game was far different back when Shooty was coming up. Shooty came up today, it'd be a whole different deal for his career. But Shooty has had a great career. Shooty is a good friend. He's a great man. I mean, Shooty is... You want to talk to somebody that treats people with respect and treats people the right way, and that's why people treat him the right way. The A's are so lucky to have Shooty Babbitt in the organization. Mac Babbitt is a great human being. He is a great human being. And his eye for talent, the work he does on television, when we're lucky to get him. I mean, I think Shooty is a baseball guy, right? That's who he is. So it was never going to be, because at some point Shooty's going to retire and play golf every day. And when that time comes, I'll be so happy for him. But if Shooty wanted to really get into the media game, I mean, how good would Shooty be on radio?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I enjoy him on TV.
I could sit there for 2 hours and 40 minutes now. I could sit there and listen to Shooty Babbitt talk baseball with somebody. No doubt.
Yeah,
Shooty would have been fabulous.
I love when he comes on with us and when you guys talk. Yeah. I mean, he's good at breaking things down.
But he is a guy that needs to be at the ballpark. I mean, that's his life. I mean, Shooty is the type of guy, when you say, Shooty, go find me the info on this guy, Shooty talks to everybody. He'll talk to parents, girlfriends, teachers. You want to know about a kid, like a high school kid, Shooty will find everything you want to know about him. College kid, stuff in the big leagues. I know there's been times where they go, hey, go ask so-and-so. Shooty will get you all the info on a free agent, on, he'll tell you everything you need. His contacts are unreal. What do you want to know about him? Shooty will find out. Whether it's a high school kid, a Major League Baseball guy, a minor league, or a college guy, community college guy. I did not say junior college, a community college guy. Even though I'm still confused, isn't it still called the JUCO World Series?
I think so.
Don't say junior college, say community college. But when they play their championship, it's called the JUCO World Series. Or it still has been in the past. I don't know. Maybe it's changed.
I will say I'll never forget that phone call on the
guy
Clubhouse show.
Jumped down my throat about calling it a junior college.
It was like a couple of years ago too. Never forgot it.
I was like, bro, I'm going John here, bro. Like when I was in school, they were called junior colleges,
bro.
It's not being disrespectful. That's what they're JCs,
bro. This is incredible.
And my advice to a lot of young kids out there, going the community college route can be very beneficial in cost, but also in admissions. So it is hard to get into certain schools, but sometimes it can be easier to get into those schools you couldn't get in out of high school to get into them from community college.
I was a community college kid. I just didn't want to pay for college, so I went to community college first and then transferred into my school.
One of our sponsors, Cinnabar Hills, this young man couldn't get into a bunch of these different schools. I believe he went to West Valley. Then he got into USC. He's going to USC now. Couldn't get into USC out of high school. Now he's going to USC. That's where he always wanted to go. If you want to go to Cal, UCLA, UC Santa Barbara, because a lot of these schools are Irvine, Davis. I'm not going to go through all the UC, San Diego, Santa Cruz. They're tough to get into, but you can get into them. Like there is whatever the community college is in Santa Barbara. I don't know the name of it, but I know for a fact. I know all that. The only reason why I know any of this stuff now is because my kids and them trying to get into school. There is a community college in Sacramento. There's a community college in Santa Barbara that is a major feeder into UC Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara City College?
That's probably it.
That's the first one that came up.
Yeah, it's got to be it. Major feeder. Santa Barbara, these are hard to get into because, UCLA has over 300,000 applications a year. It's the most applied to college in the United States of America. Not a shocker. If you've ever been to Westwood, the campus at UCLA is incredible. You're in Westwood, just right next to Bel Air and Beverly Hills. And I mean, it's LA. If you would have offered me UCLA, I would have gone. UCLA is incredible. Over 300,000 applications a year.
I also never understood why Chip Kelly left that to go to be. I'm just kidding. I know why he left, but to go be the OC at Ohio State in Columbus, Ohio.
I don't know why he left. He was making $6 million a year to be the head coach at UCLA.
There's some interesting theories out there I've heard.
Let's bring it up real quick. Congratulations to one of the legendary college coaching careers down on the farm.
Yeah, Tara Vanderveer is retiring after 38 years, I want to say she was at Stanford. She has the most wins in not women's college basketball history, college basketball history. Past Coach K, obviously past Coach Summit, Pat Summit. So now that she's retiring, I think Gino Auriemma from UConn is the next closest, but he's getting up there in age too.
God, when I saw him, they lost to Iowa, and I saw him after the game, and I was like, wow, I forgot you're used to him with that great kind of, he looked like Chuck Daly. Right? He looks a lot like Chuck Daly, the Hall of Fame coach, no longer with us, coach of the Dream Team, won 2 titles with the Pistons back in the day. Gino looks a lot like Coach Daly and had that great black hair and now he's all white and he's I was like, wow, you forget these coaches are. I mean, she's been there for how long at Stanford?
38 years.
Now, how long has she been coaching?
Her first year was 1978 at Idaho. She has 45 years as a coach, 1,216 wins. That's an 818 winning percentage for everyone who likes math at home. Right now, she's 3 wins ahead of Gino Auriemma. So Gino coaches. I mean, she passed everyone. She passed Coach K, Coach Knight, Coach Summit, because Pat Summit had 1,098 wins. So she blew by her a couple of years ago. So a great career at Stanford. I think they won 3 national titles, if I'm not mistaken, like 16 Final Fours.
She started her college career playing hoops before I was born at Albany. She was at Albany 71, 72, and then transferred to Indiana and played Indiana the year I was born, 1972 to 75. Started coaching in 1978. Where were you in 1978?
I wasn't born for another 10 years.
My God, what a career. 70 years old. I got to say this. I hate Stanford. Yeah, I said it. I understand the greatness of Stanford. I think it's unbelievable to have one of the greatest academic institutions in our area, which we live in the South Bay, so it's very close to us. Stanford Mall has taken a lot of money out of my pocket because of my wife. But I have the utmost respect for Stanford and what they stand for, who they are. And yeah, it's out of jealousy. It's out of spite. I'm a troll. I mean, look what they call me on Twitter now. I admit it. I have the utmost respect. Like, you go to Stanford, I mean, like, if Stanford offers you a scholarship, you go to Stanford. Like, even if you grow up, I don't want to go where my kid, Stanford offers, you go to Stanford. Stanford is a life-changing experience. My best friend, she went to Stanford. I know it's you got to put it this way. When you tell people you go to Stanford, they go, "Oh, you went to Stanford." I mean, it's a big deal. I still hate them, and I still beat them too. Do I need to bring back when I beat Stanford and they were number 2 in the country? Do I need to bring that back up?
I don't think.
Check the tape.
I still don't think you have the guts to tell AJ Hinch that when you see him next time.
Check the tape. I beat AJ Hinch when he was an All-American, and I beat him at Sunken Diamond, and I had him beat back at our place. I almost went 2-0 against him in 1 year. One of the only years San Jose State swept Stanford in a season, I was the one almost beat him twice. Yeah, I wasn't very good, but on that day, I was. But to be at Stanford, I think it's to coach these. You're coaching unbelievable kids. These are kids that may have the thought process of you want to go on and play in the NFL or play Major League Baseball or the NBA, or in her case, she's put a boatload of people in the WNBA. But you're teaching kids. Like, we remember when they talk about Andrew Luck and his major. These are kids that are scholastically in a whole different realm, right? This is Stanford. You go to school and to play sports. And to be a coach there for 38 years, Stanford's campus is one of the most beautiful campuses in the world. I mean, to have all of that land, the farm, to have all of that and to be there and to be a part of it. Congratulations, Coach. That's one hell of a career. That was one of the, she put herself on the map as one of the great coaching careers, because college coaching, man, you look at these coaches and you go to their Wikipedias, and I know this is a baseball show, but we got to honor greatness with her retiring. When you go to these coaches' Wikipedia pages and you see all the different places they go, it's crazy. The lifestyle for their families and all that kind of stuff, it is crazy. And to think that you were at Stanford all those years. Didn't she coach the Olympics too, I think? And she's had an unbelievable, I mean, I'm on her Wikipedia page now, and the accomplishments is like,
it's pretty.
Congratulations, Coach. One of the legendary coaches, and the honor to to have her here in the Bay Area all these years.
Very well said. I think it's 30 players or so. I think it was 30 players in the WNBA that have been drafted out of since she's been coaching at Stanford. I thought I heard it last night on ESPN when it came through that she was retiring. So 3 national titles, great run at Stanford. Interesting to see how they replace her.
Yeah, she was the head coach of the Olympic Games in 1996 in Atlanta. Won the gold in Atlanta, won the bronze in Sydney. That was the World Championships, the Goodwill Games, gold. But, yeah, she was the head coach of the Olympic team, won gold in 1996 in Atlanta. So, national champion, Olympic gold medalist, what a career. Coming up next, Bob Nightengale of the USA Today right here on A's Cast Live.
Where does one community end and the next begin? Across the railroad tracks? On the other side of the river? Is it between the east side and the west side? At Comerica Bank, we believe it's all one community, and we're all part of it. That's why Comerica has invested over $20 million for affordable housing, financial education, and workforce development in lower-income communities. Because when we raise expectations for everyone, we all rise. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
This is the place where you can dance like nobody's watching, win like nobody's business, and get away like you mean it. So what are you waiting for? Come join the party. Take that evening out and make it a night you'll never forget. This kind of action can't be beat.
Whether it's a midweek trip to the ballpark to catch a game or a weekend of baseball for the family, grab your tickets for an A's game this season. Secure your seats today for all the biggest matchups, fireworks, drone shows, giveaways, and more. Don't miss out on all the things happening this season.
Rose and Seth. It's a drive into center. It's deep, and Straw is back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
So grab yours now at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
This is Chris Townsend. There are 2 things that are a must for me: comfort and style. Whether I'm playing golf, going to dinner, I've got to have the right feel. That's why I've partnered with Linksole, and you're going to love Linksole. They have just released their new spring line, new fabrics for their polos, lightweight and perfect for technical performance. Linksole also has new styles for their layers and hoodies with cool prints and seasonal colors. You know what they say in the big leagues: look good, play good. Go to linksole.com. That's linksole.com.
You deserve extra. Extra Mile is where you get it. You don't just deserve breakfast. You deserve extra fresh Mile 1 coffee just the way you like it. You deserve more than a quick bite. You deserve an extra satisfying array of hot foods, extra good snacks, and fountain drinks that help you go the extra mile. Plus, with Extra Mile rewards, you can earn free stuff. Visit Extra Mile at select Chevron and Texaco locations. See program terms and conditions for details. With the sunshine returning, it's time for golf, and more golf at Cinnabar Hills Golf Club. Cinnabar Hills is also your destination for great food with their beautiful renovated restaurant and quality craft beer selection at their full bar. Featuring a grass driving range and 27 championship caliber holes, Cinnabar Hills Golf Club is the best public course in the Bay Area. For more information, go to cinnabarhills.com. That's cinnabarhills.com.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
You're listening to A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Do we have Bob?
I need to call him in a second, but we'll get him.
I'm worried about his UCL.
I mean, that's a good concern to have. I mean, it seems like everyone has that issue right now. Like what was the one we had yesterday right before we went off the air? Framber Valdez is now on the injured list with the elbow soreness.
Framber Valdez.
The arguably I would say he's not an ace for the Astros, but he's pretty good.
Hey, when would you say Michael Jordan was a big deal?
Yeah, he was a He was a nice little
Good
player.
little player. He had a nice
player.
little career.
I mean, I've probably flawed a little bit, but that's okay.
Yeah. What'd they say? Somebody had it. There's only one guy that led the league in scoring, was all defense, was the MVP of the finals. Like every award you could win, so it's happened 4 times where a player could win basically every major award. Maybe it was like defensive player of the year, leading scorer, NBA finals. It's happened 4 times. He was the only one to do it all 4 times.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Well, I just think of Jackson Holiday because I'm sure Michael Jordan when they drafted Michael Jordan, the Chicago Bulls had him go play in the G League because that's, Peyton Manning got drafted by the Colts and they didn't play him. They sent him to the minor leagues, even though football doesn't have a minor league.
NFL Europe.
I'm more worried about Bob Nightengale and his UCL. Bob, is your elbow okay?
So far, so good. I can still lift drinks with it.
Yeah, because the minute you can't have that cocktail at night, we're going to have a problem.
Exactly.
Well, I got to tell you, baseball, I was doing a lot of investigating on this the last couple days, and everybody's got their throw programs, and they know the throw programs work, but they know the throwing programs that are being instituted all over baseball, even through the youth levels, they come at a major risk. And I don't think baseball fans, I would say a lot of the media have ever really thought about this. We like seeing guys throw 103 miles an hour, but we're now seeing the risk and reward, and there's a lot of risk, and there's a lot of surgeries going on. And I know that people want to start talking about pitch clock and everything, but these injuries have been happening well before the pitch clock. How concerned is baseball, and do they think they really need to start investigating this?
Well, I mean, it's happening way before Major League Baseball. It's happening at high school level, junior high level. But you're right. These kids are being trained to go to driveline these places to throw as hard as you can. They throw as hard as you can every pitch. So they get drafted or get scouted by a pro team. If they blow out, they blow out. Success rate in Tommy John surgeries is like 95% the first time. The second time is only about 50%. It really drops off. So, I mean, these have been happening. I mean, you're right. A long time. I don't think it has anything to do with the pitch clock or anything like that. There are actually more, injuries, a few years ago than now. So it's just one of those things, and it's a shame when you have your, biggest stars, missing seasons.
Yeah, when we get to star pitchers, at what point are we just not going to have star pitchers and it's a turn and burn? We're going to use you till you get hurt. And the days of ace-like pitchers, Hall of Fame-like pitchers, are we getting to a point or coming up pretty soon we just won't see that anymore?
Well, I think trouble is too, you got to learn how to pitch. And I think, baseball cut down the roster size to 13 pitchers. Pretty soon they want to cut down to 12. It's like, hey, have these starters go deeper in games. We don't want them to go 4 or 5 innings and then, out of the games. You look at a guy like Noah Syndergaard, we all marveled, how hard he's throwing and everything else. We never had any off-speed pitches, You got to be like a Maddox or Glab, and you don't throw as hard as you can every single pitch. You're going to blow out. You see that all the time. You go on, Twitter, social media, people making a big thing. Oh, he just threw 7 pitches over 100. Okay, well, how many days then before he has Tommy John surgery? A lot of these guys don't know how to pitch.
Our pitching coach, Scott Emerson, says all the time, I want major league pitchers, not minor league throwers. But the problem even with that is the A's, I know we have our throwing programs, and we have all these plyo balls that are heavier than the average baseball or they're lighter than the baseball. A lot of people think that, whether you're the movements of the sweeper, the slider, the fastball, they can kind of track now what pitches they think each individual guy really hurts the UCLs, but these plyo balls and everything, like whatever's happening, it's working. Guys are throwing harder. Guys are making the ball move better than ever before, but the human body can't sustain it. And You just wonder, how do we fix this? Because it is a major surgery, Bob. When you're out for at least 15 months, it's a major surgery.
Yeah, I mean, enough of these programs, to have you throw as hard as you can, increase your velocity. We just saw that with Shane Bieber in Cleveland. Oh, he went through Scottsdale to the driveline program, picked up a couple miles an hour fastball, and he lasted 2 starts. It's not. It shouldn't be as hard as you can throw. Greg Maddox said, the way the game is today, if he was in high school, you never would have got drafted. People want you to throw hard. They don't want, they don't care about the pinpoint control and being smart about this thing. And I think too many pitchers and so many teams say, hey, throw as hard as you can. If you blow out, you blow out. Not worrying about, hey, next man up. We'll go find somebody else.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. A guy like Greg Maddox, it's hard to believe. All right, big surprises so far for you for the start of the season.
Obviously, Pittsburgh once again, but they always do this. They tease at the beginning of the season, then they fade back. Detroit's been a nice, pleasant surprise. I know they're in the right division, and you want to be the AL Central, NL Central. So it helps Pittsburgh. It helps Detroit. Those teams jump out. A little surprised by the Yankees, especially doing this without Garrett Cole. I didn't, expect them to, jump out to the kind of start they are. That's about it as far as just, that, leap off the paper like this.
Look out. If the A's win today, the A's will be 5-7, Bob. No one had that going on, getting closer to 500.
I'll tell you what, I had a number of scouts that watched the A's a lot this spring, and they told me over and over, hey, it's a better team than people think. It's not going to be like last year. They weren't predicting, 500 record, but they said, what, there's no way they're going to lose 100 games again. Too much talent. So, no, it's nice to see them, get more competitive. And then, as years go on, it's almost like we saw in Detroit, in Pittsburgh, you get better. I mean, look at Baltimore did. There was no worse team in baseball there for 3 or 4 years.
And I just think about Mark Kotsay and how competitive he is and how much respect people in the game have for Mark Kotsay. He's a man that just hates to lose. And I know he had to wear it the last 2 years. He's just not going to do it this year. He's got expectations. And you can speak to it. Mark, and how much people respect Kotz in the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, Brandon Hyde went with that with Baltimore. It's a tough thing, and I know those two guys have had long conversations about it. That you can't, drive yourself crazy, lose those games as long as the young guys develop and they play hard. That's what you can ask. But yeah, I mean, going through a rebuild program is tough. Particularly, you got guys like that, Kotsay and Skip Schumacher in Miami. They're very competitive guys, and they hate losing. And it goes against their record. When you look up years from now, what's your managerial record? It goes against it.
With so much talk about the pitchers and maybe not enough talk about all the exciting young players, I hate to see Skeens in Pittsburgh get sent down. We all know this is all about contracts and starting the free agent clock. Jackson Holliday is now coming up. I mean, the pedigree from his father to being the first overall pick. He's 20 years old. We've got so much young, great talent in our game, Bob. Do we talk enough about it?
Well, I think we do. I mean, I think people get excited. I mean, look at all the hype over Jackson Holliday. Now, by him coming up as quickly as he did, he can still get a full year service time. Obviously, he finished his top 2 or 3, rookie of the year, and automatically qualifies. And for Baltimore, even though you won't get to keep him an extra year, you can get extra draft pick here if he finishes, first or second in rookie of the year. So at least with the new CBA, you're not seeing people keep guys down, intentionally. And I think a guy like Skeens, as good as he is, talent wise, hey, get your growing pains in the minor leagues. And I think that's what they want to do with Holliday. So short, he was mixing up bats against the lefties. Because I think teams hate when you call a guy up and then he's not quite ready. You got to send him down. St. Louis is going to that's going to happen with St. Louis, I think, with the young Scott kid in the sense where he's getting, about a 0.90. And, he made the team because of an injury. But you hate to send a guy down and kind of break his spirit.
Yeah, because the theory, isn't it, Bob, for a guy that you think is going to be a really quality major league player, if not a great in your organization's history, the minute you bring him up, he never goes back down.
Right. Yeah, that's what you want. I mean, hey, Mickey Mantle went down. But, yeah, you just don't want to hurt that confidence. So I think a lot of teams say, you know what, it doesn't hurt anybody by starting the year, getting that confidence up, just a couple of weeks, then bring them up. It's different than the Chris Bryant days. That was strictly to a service time manipulation. In this case, Baltimore brought him up, a day or two early, so that they can't manipulate that unless he struggles. They send him down, later.
I love looking at the standings and seeing our guy, Stephen Vogt. You know what he means to the A's family. He'll always be a great A. Stephen Vogt off to an 8-3 start. What are your first impressions as Vogt as a skipper?
Yeah, I mean, this is a team I thought had a chance to go real deep last year, and they got just crushed with injuries. Then, of course, you lose Shane Bieber out of the gate. They do have a lot of nice young starting pitching. So it set up well. And I'm sure there'll be some growing pains. I mean, you don't go straight from playing to 1 year of coaching and then 1 year as manager. You just don't see that much anymore. So yeah, so far so good. And I'm sure same thing with those young guys. Doing well is good for their confidence. Also good for Stephen Vogt's confidence because he's replacing a Hall of Famer there in Terry Francona. Where on the flip end, you look at Houston, the guy there is Joe Esposito replacing a Hall of Famer Dusty Baker. And they've been got off to a terrible start.
Well, that doesn't pain us, Bob. It doesn't pain us to see Houston off to a bad start. I've been waiting for this moment. I've been waiting for them the evils. To me, they're the real evil empire. I've been waiting for it to all fall. It's finally happening.
I mean, they're a juggernaut. I mean, what Baltimore's doing now, I mean, their GM was assistant GM in Houston, Mike Elias. And everybody's following that Houston blueprint. And that blueprint has worked as much as people may hate the Astros. They've been a juggernaut here for the last 7 years. Is that they've done it right. I mean, they've 6 or 7 straight ALCSs. That's so hard to do.
I look at the NL West, Bob, and obviously we're not shocked by the Dodgers. They'll win it 11 out of 12 years probably this year, winning the division. The only year they don't win it, they win 106 games. The Giants won 107. I mean, it's been like a 90s Braves run, no question about it. But then you start looking at everybody else, and I obviously will play the it's early game, but A.J. Preller wanted to blame Bob Melvin. He's 6-8. Giants claim they needed Bob Melvin. They start out 4-8. D-backs got to the World Series last year. They wanted to get out to a hot start, 5-7. The NL West, other than the Dodgers, has not looked good here at the start.
It hasn't. I thought the Diamondbacks. I still think they're a very good team. That they should finish second with 90 wins or so. But yeah, you take away their games against Colorado. They only won one game, except for games against Colorado. San Diego, you lose Soto, you lose a lot of free agent starters, including Snell. So we'll see what happens there. On paper, they're not as good as a team as they were, but they're the most underachieving team maybe in baseball history last year. And then the Giants, when Snell signed, I mentioned to people, and I said, watch Snell get off to a slow start. He got off to a slow start when he joined the Padres. Just a new environment, new atmosphere, puts pressure on himself. You can't just miss the entire spring and you shrug your shoulders, no big deal. So I think it may take him a while, maybe until the All-Star break where he starts feeling comfortable.
Yeah, and also to get over the disappointment that you didn't get that life-changing, crazy, big $200+ million contract after winning your second Cy Young Award. I mean, it's just human nature not to be disappointed to basically to have to do another 1-year improvement deal, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's what he's thinking, just a 1-year deal and, jump out, somewhere else next year. but you better have a good year to jump out and cop up, $31 million. He was told that, hey, you're going to get a huge contract. You're going to get, over $250 million. And, to get pretty much basically a 1-year deal, the 2 years if things go, if you have a bad year, you're not going to opt out. So 2-year, maximum contract. So no, there's got to be a lot of disappointment there.
I mean, I can't even imagine, Bob. I mean, first of all, we can't ever imagine the money, but let's play this game. I mean, you go into something thinking you're going to get $200 million, and you end up getting a 1-year prove it deal. And for all these guys, I mean, I know Bellinger's is 3 years, but it's a 1-year prove it. Matt Chapman's a 1-year prove it. Montgomery, same thing for these Boris guys. I don't know. Have you talked to Boris or any of their people? How are they feeling after this offseason?
Well, they're saying now they didn't realize so many teams weren't going to spend money. Like the Padres have cut back, the Mets cut back, Rangers, about 9 or 10 that cut back. They threw them off, and so they weren't going to get the big money. Long-term contract and big money, so they opted to get the big money for just short term. But no, it's if they signed earlier, they definitely would have got more money. I mean, if you told people at the start of spring training, hey, you get Blake Snell for 2 years at $63 million, 30 teams have been in on him. But, nobody thought he'd come that cheap. So, yeah, those guys put pressure on themselves. It's almost like as much as it was their walk year last year, it's their walk year again. And, Chapman struggled last year. He had that great April, but he was never the same guy after that.
Well, let's end on this, and let's look through the great Bob Nightengale crystal ball, the USA Today crystal ball. Was this an anomaly, or is this kind of what we're going to see in the future, what we saw this offseason with all these big names?
Well, I think we may see a little bit more of it just because of their TV contracts. I mean, Texas Rangers backed off. They wanted Montgomery. Montgomery wanted them. They said, you know what? We don't have a TV contract after this year. The Diamondbacks still don't have one. The Padres don't have one. I think the Twins expires after this year. So, we'll see what happens. But I think, the gravy train of TV contracts, those days may be over. I mean, with the Dodgers getting, $300 million a year TV, they're lucky they got that deal. A lot of people don't have that luxury. So, and I also think, too, is that, it wasn't a star-studded class. Everybody kind of had their warts. And, and people look in the past, too, like, hey, Carlos Rodon, wasn't that guy. Too many guys with long-term contracts, whether it's Chris Bryant, that sort of thing, Colorado, haven't lived up to him. So if you ask any team, they'll tell you there's not such a thing as a bad 1-year contract as long as you're not stuck long-term.
Great stuff as always, my friend. We appreciate it. Keep up the great work with the USA Today, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, my pleasure. Take care, Chris.
Bob Nightengale. I've been telling you, Bob Nightengale's been coming on all my different shows, basically my entire career, which is now spanning whatever the time is. But he's always been great to us. Bob Nightengale has always been great to us. Like even in the winter meetings, he's slammed. He's on the set of MLB Network. Always makes time for us. Always.
That's what that photo I used of Bob is from us, from you guys at the winter meetings.
Yeah, great guy.
So interesting. Some stuff he said in there, but there was one that I pinpointed now as lost where it was. It was it'll come back to me. There was something he was in there.
That's riveting.
I know, but
riveting stuff there, Commander.
It was one of the answers. It was after the stuff with the A's and
Snell.
No.
How about that? Because that to me, how's it not human nature that you're just like, really? I go out. My second half is all world. He had one of the best second halves in the history of the game, right? If you look at the numbers.
Yeah.
A little wild at times that you look out. He didn't give up runs, struck everybody out. He did everything he wanted. And I can't get a long-term deal. The one chance I really got, and then the best I get is basically right before the season starts. It essentially don't look at the 2 years, 3 years. These are all 1-year prove-it deals. Because in the ideal world, Boris got the couple of years just as insurance, but all these have opt-outs. You go have a good year. You opt out. You're back in this again. It's stressful. I mean, we don't feel sorry for them because they're getting millions anyway, and they're never going to have to work again in their life, and their kids won't have to work. And, but still, it's stressful. I mean, this is when you really want to cash in. It's human nature to be like, this is BS. I don't blame him. I mean, so you say, wow, you're the Giants, right? Wow, what a steal for Farhan. What a steal. He got him, he got Chapman. But you're getting guys who are disappointed, right? This is not, you want people to sign and be all in, right? Doesn't matter where you work. You can be making millions or you can be making minimum wage. But you want people to be happy at their job, right? I want Commander to show up every day ready to go. We're doing something awesome. It's A's Cast. Let's do this. I don't want you coming in here going, well, I didn't get the deal I thought I was going to get, so I got to sit next to you every day. I mean, that's not what you want.
No, not at all. I remember what it was that he was talking about too, but the whole thing with Snell, like he also said that he doesn't think Snell's going to be the same until the All-Star break. So you're paying him all that money to not get right until the All-Star break?
And he's like, man, I'm here. I got to be with these guys. I mean, did he really want to be in San Francisco? I don't know. He may love it. I mean, he may love it. Chapman may love it. I mean, Bellinger loved being with the Cubs. It's kind of a fit, but that's not. I mean, if you're Bellinger, man, look at the year I had for you, and this is how you did me. I mean, Montgomery, I don't know. Where's Montgomery?
Arizona. Yeah, I don't know if
I know he's in Arizona, but I don't know where he's from. Where's he from? Where does he live in the offseason? He may live in Arizona in the offseason. I don't know. I don't know his story.
He pitched 2 days ago in AAA, but he's from South Carolina, or he's born in South Carolina. So I don't know if he lives there.
So I don't know if he makes his offseason home in South Carolina. I don't know if he's in Florida, whatever. But, I mean, it's like Bellinger, out of all those guys, at least went back to a place he's familiar with.
He's actually starting the year okay, I believe. I mean, better than what Snell and Chapman are doing. Chapman came up last night, bases loaded, 1 out in the ninth, and grounded to double play. So I'm sitting there with one of my buddies. We were at the Sharks game, and we were watching it during the intermission. I said, I bet you he grounds to double play. I'm like, no. He goes, no, he'll come through. I'm like, dude, I watched him play in Oakland. Like I've watched him play. It's gonna, when he connects, is great, but he was awful the second half after April last year. Just watch, and Taylor made double play ball.
12 games in, hitting 184, 592 OPS.
Hold on, Giants played today, so could have went down. So
they scored runs though.
Yeah, they scored. I think they ended up winning 7-1. So they salvaged one game against the upstart Nats, who are coming.
So the
Oakland.
Nats have the day off tomorrow in the Bay Area.
Yeah, I didn't realize this. I saw it on TV on when they were showing the Giants.
Kevin Franzen has a day off at home. Franny.
Yeah. Doolittle's in the dugout as a pitching strategist for the Nats.
Are we getting him?
I texted him. I haven't heard back yet. But we still got a couple of days. Last time he didn't text back till the day of.
I love that. He's a pitching strategist.
Chapman went 2 for 4 with 2 runs scored, so he's hitting 208 now.
He's hitting 208. Yeah.
Hey, Jorge Soler's a big Giants guy. He's in 191.
You just gotta think. I mean, and it's. I want to be compassionate because this is their world, right?
Yeah.
So it's that guy's making $30 million a year. I don't feel sad. I mean, that's a simpleton way to look at it. This is their world, right? This is what they do for a living. This is how people get paid. They get paid more than we do. Just accept it. They have specialty jobs. I got to think you're Blake Snell. You sat there with the Cy Young Award all offseason, and you keep getting bad news from your agent. And then they keep lying. Oh, we got deals. We've got deals. It's a shell game, right? You're playing the shell game. Oh, we have deals. Don't look at this shell, the real shell. We got shells over here. In the shell game, and the guy's supposed to look at, but there's distractions. They're distracting people, so everybody's distracted. Playing a shell game, New York City. It's a shell game. Where's the peanut? I mean, Boris's people are playing the shell game all off season. How are you not disappointed?
Yeah, you were hoping to get one of the large. I'm not saying
you expected $250 and you got a 1-year deal.
Yeah,
that's a dramatic difference. Oh my God.
Yeah, and that's that's interesting. It ties back into what Mike Bassick said to us yesterday about how he wouldn't give guys a 5-year deal anymore. And he thinks like DeGrom's the last guy to go in. Now we know Yamamoto, but he said 5 years and $40 million. Yamamoto's not making $40 million, but yeah, I mean, Snell went from thinking he was going to get over $200 million to getting a, on paper, 2-year, $62 million deal, which is a 1-year deal because he can opt out. And if he pitches well, he's going to opt out because he's going to get more money next year. But Bob said it. There's teams that don't have TV deals after next year, and one of them is Arizona.
Bob, what was the thing that?
Oh, he talked about everyone's following the Astros model. And BK did a thing, I saw it on Twitter earlier from MLB Now. It was like a 4-minute digging in about how, the Orioles are building it the right way, kind of following what he's like, here's what the Cubs did and how they drafted. And those guys were who won the World Series, and the Astros. And it was like, one of them was Springer, who Luno didn't draft. And then it was Bregman. And then he was like, oh, then you look ahead to Correa. Then you look ahead to Bregman. It's like, well, what about the guys they missed on in between there?
Mark Capel.
Yeah. And Brady Aiken was the other one. They 2 number 1 pick or,
Well, he's not going to mention that because it doesn't fit the narrative.
Yes.
By the way, let's prove a point here. Dodgers opening day 26-man payroll. What was it?
Let me see.
Not 40-man.
Dodgers opening day 26-man payroll. Dodgers is, according to this on Spotrac, $184 million.
That can't be right.
That's just 26-man.
Okay, the 20. Okay. So, where's Philly on there?
They are 4th.
Okay. Mets are still number 1?
Correct.
Okay.
That's for 26-man roster.
Our sports talk brethren may not be the most educated when it comes to baseball anymore.
Actually, technically, the Yankees have the most. I don't know why the Mets were ranked. They're 3. It's Yankees, Phillies, Mets.
Okay. 40-man, I think it's Mets still, I want to say.
Yes.
Okay.
Mets, Yankees.
But let's go 26-man payroll. So our sports talk brethren, we love them. But now it has shifted so much to football, so much to NBA. Certain markets will cover baseball, but much don't. But what happens is our sports talk brethren, they venture into our world with a lot of hot takes. And I think people who are not in our world hardcore like we are, they buy those takes. Yeah, go get them. You're right. Payroll. Look at their spending. Bob Nightengale just mentioned it. The Los Angeles Dodgers have over a $300 million a year television contract. Let that sink in for a minute. $300 million. The Phillies is $250. We know that in the NBC and our connection at NBC. So before you sell a Dodger dog, before you sell an Ohtani jersey, a Betts hat, a whatever, you got a check for whatever the amount is, $300+ million. Time Warner's giving you a check. Okay? All this offseason, they spent $1.2 billion. They blah, 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 blah. Let's dig into the numbers because the hot take sports talk persons go, see, they spend the money. And then they look at the teams, the lower teams, and they go, look how cheap they all are. Okay. I'm not sticking, and of course, people are going to go, you're just sticking up for the A's. I just want to show you math, folks. Business. As someone who looks at profit and loss, P&Ls, as someone who looks at business, the Los Angeles Dodgers get over $300 million before the start of the season for cable. What's their 26-man roster?
The Dodgers is $184 million for 26.
$184 million. Okay? So everybody in the hot take world will talk about how much they spend. They're not spending all their TV money. What's their 40-man?
Dodgers 40-man is 200, and we'll round it up, $226 million.
They're getting over $300 million before they sell one ticket, one suite, one bat, one jersey, one hat. Everything is paid for by their television. And you act like they're big spenders. Do you not understand that? I'm not asking people to go take business classes, but clearly their payroll is paid for by television. The rest goes into their owners' pockets. And then we turn around to the small market teams, and you want the small market teams to spend like that, but they don't have $300 million. The Phillies, they get $250 million for television a year from Comcast. What is their 26-man roster?
$221 million.
So there you go. Their television pays for all their payroll. It's very, very reminiscent of the NFL. So you applaud these teams as big spenders, but are they really big spenders? Because they're spending money that someone has just given to them. They haven't sold one season ticket. They haven't sold anything. Television covers all their stuff. Covers their 40-man, covers their 26-man. It's covered. The rest is gravy, but yet the hot take sports talk world tries to come off like these guys are big spenders. And then you'll go to smaller markets where you have no chance of getting a cable deal like that. Right?
Yeah, good example. I'm just going to use them because they're on here, and I'm not using because I'm biased. But the Pirates have they're opening their 26-man payroll with $75 million this year.
Okay, there's no way the Pirates have a $75 million a year cable deal.
They had to start their own. Them and the Penguins had to start their own television network.
So the Pirates, you want to judge the Pirates with these other teams, yet the Pirates are overspending. They're now spending into their profits. The Dodgers and the Phillies and the Yankees and the Mets, they're not spending into their profits to give you a baseball team. That's covered all by their television. Television covers everything. To where these other teams, they're actually having to spend the money they make off seats and parking and beers and hot dogs. It's not apples to apples comparison, but you're listening to these hot take sports guys and you're like, see, they're right. Go get them. And you're like, dude, you don't understand business at all. Go ahead, clip this, put it on Twitter, rip me all you want. I'm right. And the San Diego Padres are a great example because everybody was so applauding them last offseason. That's what you do. You go for it. Go Peter Seidler. He's going for it. He's using his outside businesses to put the guarantee up for contracts and insurance and all this kind of stuff. And Bob Melvin told us in San Diego last year, this is a disaster. Told us, right? Am I wrong? You were there.
Yeah, they're 20.
Hold on, let me finish
okay.
this. And what happened? All of a sudden, the Padres lost their TV deal. All of a sudden, the Padres, who got over 3 million people last year, okay? If you think the tickets and the suites are the almighty thing, they had over 3. They were hemorrhaging money. So much so they had to get rid of Juan Soto. Preller didn't want to do it. It just goes to show. You're trying to compare, and that's why I always go, not having a salary cap is a disaster for this sport. I don't care what people say. Look at the NBA. Look at the NFL. It works. This economic system that we have in baseball only works for the people who we used to say have big TV deals. Now it only works for the people who have big TV deals because a lot of teams, you have the 2 teams out in the World Series don't have TV deals.
Yeah,
right?
Very true.
The 2 teams that played in the World Series don't have TV deals. But yet, the hot take guys want to compare. And I'm not saying these teams are going broke. I'm not saying anyone's going broke. People are making money. But the difference in the money, it's crazy. It's crazy to compare the small market or let's say, well, it used to be small TV deals to now no TV deals, to compare them to the Dodgers. And we act like the Dodgers are, if you want to make this apples to apples, the Dodgers would need to be spending like $370 million on payroll. They would need to spend all of their TV money, and they'd need to be going into what they get off seats and licensing deals and all that kind of stuff. But they don't. So these comparisons they're not fair. They're not apples to apples. Like, how do you compare Ohio State's athletic department to, let's just say, Virginia? You can't, because Ohio State's athletic department's bringing over $200-something million a year. You want the University of Virginia to spend like Ohio State? They can't. Not saying Virginia didn't make money or whoever. Then you go, like, how do you expect San Jose State to spend like Michigan? We all expect, in college sports, we all know that's crazy. That's ridiculous. We wouldn't expect. Well, what, you don't think that's a fair comparison? I mean, look at what the Phillies and the Mets and the Yankees and the Dodgers, look what they have, and then look what these other teams have. And you want them all to spend the same? That's economic suicide. You would spend all of your money, all of it. And now some fans would say, well, why would you own a team? Well, it's a business. Fans would spend every penny you got. Okay. Well, then if we do that, then the Dodgers should have over a $400 million payroll than a 100. And what'd you say it was?
The 26 man was 184. I believe.
How many people you think even know the Dodgers don't spend the most in baseball, but yet are getting over $300 million a year for TV? I bet 90-something% of people have no clue about that. They really have they give you hot takes and you listen to the hot takes and you believe the hot takes, but you really don't really understand the business of it.
Yeah, it's so, I mean.
So if you want the Dodgers to be all in the way smaller market teams have to overspend what they get on TV, Dodgers would have to be spending, they'd have to go way over the luxury tax. They'd have to spend way more money to make it apples to apples.
Yeah, 184, and that was sixth. Right now it's sixth in Major League Baseball for the 26.
So as a Dodger fan, you'd be like, wait a minute, you get over $300 million and you're only spending 84?
Yeah, 184
on your 26-man roster.
I'm just looking at some of these, like the Mets. I got 64, almost $65 million in retained salaries.
The Mets pay. The Mets are paying. Bye-bye Scherzer, Verlander. But it helps them with the luxury tax.
Does this include Bobby Bonilla too, or?
I don't think Bobby Bo's deferred money is on that. And the Madoff scandal, the Bernie Madoff scandal.
Well, because you mentioned you bring up like how teams are spending. If you have an owner that makes money, wants to spend money. Well, how come the Mets don't have they have the huge payroll. How many big playoff games do they won so far?
When Steve Cohen, Mr. $16 billion hedge fund guy, bought the Mets, everybody act like, oh, baseball's in trouble. The richest guy, he's the richest owner, they're in trouble. It's not the case. It fries me when I've got to have people text me and people send me stuff people said on Twitter and KMBR said this. And you're just like, they don't live in the baseball world. Baseball world is different. It really, really, really is different. And unless you're in it every day and you're living it and you understand it, you follow it, it's far more complex. I wish it was more like the football world. I wish everybody had a salary cap. I wish the TV paid for everybody. Folks, in the NFL, the TVs pay for everybody's salary, your roster. It's pretty simple. I wish we had that. And then we wouldn't look at Cincinnati as a small market team because we don't look at the Bengals. We don't look at the Steelers. Like, if you win, doesn't matter where you are, right? Josh Allen in Buffalo turns it around. By the way, get him on Monday Night Football. Joe Burrow shows up. Get the Bengals on Monday Night Football. Get them on Sunday Night Football. Has anybody looked at the Kansas City Chiefs as a small market team lately?
I don't think so, no.
Has anybody ever looked at them? Pretty much in my lifetime, the Chiefs have always been pretty competitive, if not good.
I never think of, honestly, I've not for the sake of the conversation, just overall, I've never actually thought of an NFL team as a small or big market. I mean, Green Bay's a small town and a small media market.
Smallest market you can get.
But I still don't think of that. I don't think market size on them. It's like, oh, Green Bay. Yeah.
They're the Packers.
Yeah. They own Wisconsin.
Well, they've had Brett Favre. They had the Magic Man. They were awful for years after Lombardi and for years in the 80s and Lynn Dickey. Remember the great Lynn Dickey?
I just remember
James Lofton played there for a minute. The great Raider James. Stanford great James Lofton was stuck in Green Bay for years. But they were terrible. But it just goes to show, like, it's frustrating. You wish you could get people to understand, and it's just they don't. And no matter when you talk like this, you're going to get hammered because people want the simpleton. They want the hot take sports talk guy to say, everybody's cheap, you're this, you're that. And you want to look at these other teams and you go, dude, they don't spend a percentage of their profits like you think they do. Not even close. Not even close. That's why go to Universal Studios and look at the Dodgers merchandise. They have a full Dodger Town store at Universal Studios. That's massive. Massive. But it gets back to the Dodgers television contract pays for everything. So every Dodger dog, every seat, and that's just gravy into their pocket. It's great business. But if you think the Guggenheim Group is losing money on players, you're out of your mind. They're not losing money on players. Because the minute they were losing money on players, what do you think they'd do?
Change their business practices?
They'd sell. Yeah. Anytime you were losing money, you'd be like, as a business, you know who saw it all, folks? The place that my kids want to go, the Haas Business School at Berkeley, the Haas family. They saw the future of baseball. What did they do?
Sold.
They sold. They're smart business people, right? They saw. I mean, yeah. Baseball teams always go up in value, right? Teams always go up in value. But yeah, I mean, the Haas family knew where prices were going, can you imagine telling the Haas family back in the day, because we all recognize them as very smart business, that a guy like Aletmus Diaz would make $8 million a year?
And not play a game yet this year?
And not even play a game yet this year.
I was looking at that.
And when he comes back, what do you do?
I was looking at the money that we have on.
By the way, on that, is there going to be a point, as much I love Darryl Hernandez? Nick Allen's got a hit. Is there a point, though? Nick Allen's got a hit. He's hitting, $188? Nick Allen's got a hit. But at some point, let's say, whatever, Hernandez needs to play.
He's playing third today, I believe.
It's almost like, God,
third.
I hate to say this. Would you want Hernandez down at AAA to play every day? I don't want him sitting the bench.
Might be
tough call. But then again, you're going to have a tough, if Allen doesn't hit, you're going to have a tough call at short.
Yeah, we got time still because Aletmus is on the 60-day injured list, which, not to go off track, but Kodai Senga was put on the 60-day injured list. They moved him back too. So that's more injuries.
The Ghost Fork.
Yeah. But yeah, so Aletmus 60-man injured list or 60-day injured list. So you still have time, but you're right about with Nick Allen. He's got to hit. He went the drive line, try to fix everything there, but it hasn't happened. It hasn't transitioned so far this year. Translated, sorry, not transitioned.
And speaking of something that we didn't get into, we got into a little bit, but more on what we do with Bob Nightengale that you brought up. At what point does Major League Baseball have to really start looking into this? At what point? You brought that up. How much these drive lines of the world, I know we have a throw studio, throw camp, whatever the hell you want to call it, down in Morgan Hill. What's it called?
I'm going to look it up. Pitching Lab, Morgan Hill.
Yeah, Pitching Lab. At what point does baseball start to look into
Kinetic Performance Institute?
Because it's risk and reward, right? What they are teaching, these throw programs, I investigated it today, and these throw programs, there's risk. And I think all of us, if my dream is to play Major League Baseball, and you told me that I do this throw program, that's going to give me a better chance to play Major League Baseball. But there is the risk that I could have major surgery. Would I do it? It's risk and reward. We saw how many guys would take PEDs, which were not good for your body long term. How many of you out there for your job and your dream would risk elbow surgery? Is major surgery. You're out for, you're done for 15 months now. It's a long, grueling rehab. How many of you would take the risk?
There was a study done earlier from friend of the program.
I would, by the way.
Yeah.
I would. Of course I would.
You got a chance to make millions of life-changing money.
But not everybody. You got to remember, even though they promise that a very few percentage make it.
Yeah.
And a very few percentage, now if you're going to get hurt, the life-changing money, like if you make the minimum, that's not life-changing money.
No. I mean, it's still more than
what the average person will get,
yes.
but that's not life-changing money. You're still going to have a career after. So the whole thing is life-changing money. How long this risk is you're taking the risk that you could be one of that now you're going to be able to be around long enough. But these throwing labs and these throwing programs come with a great risk. Like you join a gym, you're going to work out. We're going to get you in better shape. You're going to lose weight. It's going to lower your cholesterol, lower your blood pressure, do all this kind of stuff. But you could end up having major surgery. Now, it's not a great comp because there's not life-changing money involved, but you'd be like, that's crazy. I'm not doing that. I mean, you take risk anytime you go anywhere. And you take risk, you go to the gym, you play golf and hurt your back. I mean, you take risk. But you knowingly, and I hope these throw labs talk about this, but you go into these throwing programs, the risk reward is now there. And the risk is definitely there that your arm won't be able to take it. Everybody's arm's different. Everybody's body's different. And when that arm blows, and the fact that we're seeing all these 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds do it, sickening. But there's a lot of risk involved with these throw programs. When everybody started throwing harder, everybody talked about how great it was. Now we're seeing how many people are getting hurt. Now people are like, whoo. What does baseball do? What does baseball do when every single day you look up, this guy's down, then this guy's down, then that guy's down? I mean, there's stories being written. There's stories being written about this daily now. It's at the forefront. It wasn't at the forefront. We knew there's a problem. Now it's at the forefront.
Yeah, there was a study done on the Score by a friend of the program, Travis Sawchik, and he looked at how many Tommy John surgeries have happened within the first 100 days of each calendar year, looking at pro, meaning all levels of baseball, and just Major League Baseball overall. If you look at this year, there have been 16 Tommy Johns in pro on all levels, and then 9 in Major League Baseball. Last year, there were 23 in pro and 2 in Major League. So we already have 7 more in Major League Baseball right now than we did last year so far, or within 100 days of the season starting. And it's just going up. And unfortunately, we're going to see more guys most likely be hurt in the next couple weeks. I mean, it's just the way it is. How many guys? It was like 4 or 5 guys just yesterday alone with elbow soreness. It was Framber. It was Nick Pivetta. It was Josiah Gray. I feel like there was another guy there was
Antone of the Reds.
Yeah, yeah. So those are just some guys that got hurt, and he's having his third Tommy John. I mean, how many more are we going to see this week? Another 4 or 5 potentially? We don't want to see that, but it's just the way the game's trending right now.
Well, then the questions start to be asked to front office people. If you know your throw programs are hurting your players, why do you continue with them?
Yeah, that's
it's a legitimate question.
And
or does it worry you? I mean, something we can ask David Force on Friday. Now, luckily, knock on wood, we had Trevor Gott, but wait a minute, we had a reliever also had it.
Angel Felipe,
yeah. So it's like, how much do you guys are you looking into your throw programs? Do you decipher is this a one size fits all, or is this? I mean, can you look to say who needs it, who doesn't? I mean, if we're just in this world, everybody needs to throw harder and you have to do this, and you got guys dropping like flies, you got to really think about how you're training people. Your training procedures are hurting people. That shouldn't be looked at as a good thing. That should be scary as hell. I mean, it should be really scary where you're like, this is our throw program, and there's a certain percentage of you who are going to get dramatically hurt and have to have surgery. UCL replacement bracket, however you're going to have it. I mean, at what point is the players, right? The players almost have to take this risk because the players are being told, got to throw harder. Your spin rate needs to be on the slider. It has to be over 2,500 or whatever you think it needs to be. I mean, it's like this data, you need to do this. Well, if you're not doing it, you need to do it. Well, how you do it? You got to do this throw program. but this throw program could blow out my arm. Well, you want to be here or not? I mean, this is a slippery slope.
Yeah, and
gets back to what you brought up, very astute. Sometimes you've got to protect the athletes from themselves. That's the whole PEDs. We know the athletes will take the risk. Well, at what point do you, I mean, obviously performance-enhancing drugs are illegal, but there's times where you have to protect the athletes from themselves. At what point are we going to have to protect the athletes not only from themselves, but from the front offices? That's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, and one of the things we haven't got a chance to play a lot of it, but Justin Verlander, in his whole 4-minute answer, he talked about the programs. If you want to hear, go ahead. This is Verlander after his start on Sunday, but he was asked about pitching and everything going on, but he talked about how he didn't have any programs when he was growing up.
Everybody right now, Little League on. Go look no further than Instagram. I can't look at my Instagram feed without seeing, some kids trying to learn how to throw as hard as they can at 10 years old. I sure as hell didn't do that. I didn't figure it out until college. I matured into my body. I was, I say it all the time. If I came up in today's world, I don't know what would happen. My mechanics were a little different. I was tall, lanky, lean, skinny, lean, weird, kind of hadn't hit my maturity. Went to college, didn't get drafted, went to college and kind of grew into myself. And all of a sudden started throwing hard, but it wasn't because I did some, program to make me throw harder.
And he's a guy that ramped it up in the late innings. That wasn't even throwing, 100 coming out for 5 innings. He was throwing 100 in the 7th and 8th inning because he knew how to pace himself, which guys aren't doing anymore.
If this is a big story in April and guys keep getting hurt, this will be a whole different conversation when we hit July. Mark my words, right? We've seen this in the past. We saw it with steroids. We saw it with the juice ball. You see it. It starts to gain momentum and just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's where you're like, do you get out ahead of it or do you wait till all of a sudden there's panic? How many more guys need to go down? I mean, that's a weird thought, right? You got to protect the athletes, not only from themselves, and maybe the front offices.
It's not a great time to be in the sport. Well, not to be in the sport, but it's not a great time for the sport.
Like the throw labs. What's it say for the throw labs? I mean, people were, Shane Bieber, Scottsdale. He was at the Scottsdale, because they're now all over the place. They started in the Pacific Northwest, but
I think it was Kent, Washington, yeah.
Yeah, now it's like, he's at Driveline in Scottsdale, and they did this whole thing because we took on the Guardians in his first start, and he was money, and his velocity was back, and look how great it is. Bang, one start. He was not right after that for his second start. Now he's under the knife. I mean, wow, that's scary. Coming up next, we get more positivity. Our man Hembo from ESPN, Paul Hembekides, joins us right here on A's Cast Live. This is Chris Townsend. I'm proud to announce our Year 2 partnership with Link Soul. They've changed my wardrobe, and they can do the same for you. And right now, their spring collection is fabulous. Natural fabrics and versatile styles, perfect for this time of the year. And they want to introduce their performance line for golf, premium for on-course apparel, design, and to keep you cool and dry. Check it all out, linksoul.com. That's linksoul.com. Remember, look good, play good.
Where does one community end and the next begin? Across the railroad tracks? On the other side of the river? Is it between the east side and the west side? At Comerica Bank, we believe it's all one community, and we're all part of it. That's why Comerica has invested over $20 million for affordable housing, financial education, and workforce development in lower-income communities. Because when we raise expectations for everyone, we all rise. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
If you haven't been to the Chicken Pie Shop in Walnut Creek, what are you waiting for? You're going to love the new menu, and it's a great place to watch all the games. Come taste their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. They have a new spring menu with special dishes and a full bar with new delicious spring cocktails. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next corporate party or birthday celebration. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Nestled in the hills of San Jose, minutes from Silicon Valley, Cinnabar Hills Golf Club offers 27 holes of championship golf, a first-class pro shop, practice facility, and great food in the grill. This time of year also means family and business get-togethers. Let the folks at Cinnabar Hills make your event unforgettable while enjoying their award-winning venue. It's all there for you. Championship golf, a great space for any events, and incredible food. See it all at CinnabarHills.com. That's CinnabarHills.com.
Whether it's a midweek trip to the ballpark to catch a game or a weekend of baseball for the family, grab your tickets for an A's game this season. Secure your seats today for all the biggest matchups, fireworks, drone shows, giveaways, and more. Don't miss out on all the things happening this season.
Throws and Seth. It's a drive into center. It's deep, and Straw is back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
So grab yours now at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets. You deserve extra. Extra Mile is where you get it. You don't just deserve breakfast. You deserve extra fresh Mile 1 coffee just the way you like it. You deserve more than a quick bite. You deserve an extra satisfying array of hot foods, extra good snacks, and fountain drinks that help you go the extra mile. Plus, with Extra Mile rewards, you can earn free stuff. Visit Extra Mile at select Chevron and Texaco locations. See program terms and conditions for details.
This is the place where you can dance like nobody's watching, win like nobody's business, and get away like you mean it. So what are you waiting for? Come join the party. Take that evening out and make it a night you'll never forget. This kind of action can't be beat.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
Looking to stay up to date on all things A's? Head over to athletics.com/A'scast. That's athletics.com/A'scast to listen to A's baseball in full 24/7 coverage of the A's, only on A's Cast. With a single click, you can stream great shows, live pre- and post-game coverage, and of course, all the great action of the A's this season. Head to athletics.com/A'scast today.
Where does one community end and the next begin? Across the railroad tracks? On the other side of the river? Is it between the east side and the west side? At Comerica Bank, we believe it's all one community, and we're all part of it. That's why Comerica has invested over $20 million for affordable housing, financial education, and workforce development in lower-income communities. Because when we raise expectations for everyone, we all rise. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
You're listening to A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Well, I know that when Sunday Night Baseball, Monday Night Football, the show Get Up on ESPN, when they have all this great information and people try and play it off like it's their own, I know it's a lie because I know it's Hembo's. Paul Hembekides, he's the mastermind behind it all. That's why he puts out a book like this that's a bestseller that you should buy and read. The next book. When's the next book coming out?
The next book's coming out in September of this year. Book number 3 is coming out in September of next year. Look, I've got 2 girls here at home, twin girls, just like you have. You may not know this. I did post this over the weekend on Instagram. We've got a 3rd girl on the way, by the way, number 3.
Rick, congratulations.
And so what I can say for sure is that despite my incomparably high ESPN salary, as you might imagine, there is a lucrative amount of money to be made in sports research, as we all know.
Yes.
Still not enough. I live in North Jersey, the most expensive area of the country. 3 girls in this area is not going to be salary cap friendly. So we keep pumping out books and we keep making money. That's how we roll, babe.
Well, you are in New Jersey. Maybe you could do part-time mob stuff, and next you know, you're back in the game.
You know what? That's not a bad idea. My cash flow is a little on the low side at the moment. It looks like yours is a little bit on the high side, given the fact that You look like you run a pro shop in Georgia. I'm really impressed. Really impressed with the getup today. You look outstanding.
It's Masters week, so since I have been to the Masters, and I spent a lot of money at the Masters. I got an outfit for every day. So yes, it's Masters week. Who is winning the Masters? What does your research say?
So I did crunch the numbers, as I'm sure you're not surprised to hear me say. You obviously could do a lot worse than just picking Scotty or John Rahm, because both are just hitting the living daylights out of the ball, obviously. Hideki Matsuyama won the thing before, plays really well at that course. You can get him at 18-1. I kind of like that value. I love Xander Schauffele at 14-1. He plays that course really well. He's been knocking on that door. He's been hitting the ball great this year. And if you're going to go off the board a little bit, I like Shea Lowry at 45-1. He's another guy who has played that course consistently well lately, and he's been playing great this year. So that's kind of the research I do. I've nailed the winner actually 2 of the last 3 years. It's just generally a pretty basic exercise. Who's hitting it well right now, and who has consistently under par rounds at that place? Those are the 4 or 5 names that my results yielded.
Okay, so I'm in a DraftKings. You get to select 6 guys, and you got to keep it under 50 grand type deal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go at my 2 big guns. I'm going to go Koepka and Wyndham Clark.
Okay.
Wyndham Clark's been playing great this year.
Yeah, and I love Koepka this week. I think it's going to be Sunday, and all of a sudden you're going to be like, oh, yeah, that guy's tied for third. Like he freaking always is. I think Koepka's a nice value play, a little bit more under the radar than usual, but we know his game can play up there. I think he's got the short game to pull it off. I know that's always the conversation with him, but Brooke Koepka's a stud. He can overpower that golf course when he's on, and I expect him to be on.
I mean, it's truly one of the great American events. The Masters it is what it is. It's beautiful. It's unbelievable. It's great for television. ESPN will have it all the way through Friday. Today, ESPN watching it. They're doing the par 3 contest. It's ESPN and the Masters. There's a good marriage there.
It sure is. I've never been. So I always wanted to have that $3 pimento cheese sandwich and all the super cheap concessions. But Mike Greenberg, my co-host, always likes to say is, you feel like you are transplanted into a different time, because unlike all the other things that we do in this day and age, not everyone has their freaking phone up chronicling every single thing, right? Isn't there a ban on that?
No, yeah. You can't bring your phone in. You give them your phone. First of all, you leave your phone in the car, but if you take your phone there, they take it for you and you pick it up when you leave.
That's magic. That's magic. I mean, to me, those are the best kinds of things, the things I enjoy the most, when you can close your eyes and feel like you're in another century. There's nothing else in life that we do that with anymore. Everything is chronicled in third person with our smartphones. The fact that you can actually enjoy that thing, and it also holds up so well on television. 100 years from now, you're not going to know if the thing was 50 years ago or today. And there's a lot of value in that. Like the timeless quality of that course and the way that they run it, to me, is really special. They hit all the notes exactly right.
By the way, I got a bone to pick with the Fightin' Phils.
Hit me.
You're killing my fantasy team. Castellanos is garbage. Trey Turner's been garbage. What is going on? They're killing me.
Right now, Brandon Marsh is the only guy on the team that's hitting at all. I mean, I could have told you before the season started that Nick Castellanos wasn't going to hit a lick because he stinks. I'm a little bit surprised that Trey Turner has not started off better, because
are we not applauding him enough now? I mean,
seriously.
Oh my God.
Look, I mean, that's a one-trick pony. Trey Turner's a stud. I saw him hit a ball. He split the gap in right center field a couple games ago and backspinned it. So that was a really good sign. But I've always been lower on Trey Turner than consensus. Look, he's going to turn it around. This team's going to hit. They're going to score runs. They've, generally speaking, at least in recent years, taken a little while to hit their stride. But in that division, like, you're not going to hang with Atlanta if you take a month off. And so, you're almost like penciling in the team as a wild card club before the season even starts. And I don't love the idea of that. And I want to run this other idea past you in relation to my Phils, because I think it could be very instructive if we get to October, of course. I think the mystique, the Citizens Bank Park mystique, that home field advantage, I think it might have died in Game 6 and 7 of the NLCS last year against Arizona. When you allow a team that got outscored during the regular season to come in there and punk you on your home turf in Game 6 and 7, and the way in which it happened too, like, sometimes that edge is pretty thin. That it's a pretty thin margin, and the Phillies could basically bank 6 runs in a dub anytime they played at the bank. I'm not so sure that isn't going to be the kind of thing that we look back on and say, oh, those 2 years were actually their best chance to do it. Because once you lose that edge, once you lose that home field advantage, let's not forget here, like this is a team that wasn't close to as good as the Dodgers or the Braves in either of the last 2 seasons. They advanced further than both of them in both of those seasons. But that's in part because they had that huge home field advantage. I think that might well cease to exist.
Well, let me ask you, how many championships have the Chicago Bulls won since Michael Jordan last played?
That would be 0, my friend.
How are the Patriots doing these days?
Not so good.
Steph Curry and the Warriors, are they making the playoffs?
Well, it depends what show you watch. All right, so if you watch Get Up, they're a highly featured team. If you happen to check the standings, all right, they're in 10th in the Western Conference.
Well, if I watch Get Up, LeBron's going to be a number 1 seed, right?
LeBron, yeah, they're obviously banking a first 2-round bye, I believe, into the Western Conference Finals because I think we are going to rejigger the rules to ensure that happens. But in all, I pick up what you're putting down.
One more I got for you. The man that sits next to me told me that the steel curtain and the Steelers would be great forever. I kept hearing the Steelers, and I keep going. Jack Lambert and Mean Joe Green and Terry Bradshaw are not walking through that door.
Is there an organization in sports right now that is living more off of the past than the Pittsburgh Steelers? You know it's bad when the best you can do is our coach has the longest streak of non-losing seasons. No, not winning seasons, non-losing seasons. What a stupid stat. Like as if somehow Mike Tomlin went 7-9, he would be a horrible coach. Like I just don't understand this idea. Like, okay, so we're celebrating average. Let's celebrate average. I get it. But like in reality, this team hasn't won a playoff game in 8 years. Cody,
I was going to say
for yourself.
Come on!
I was going to say Tomlin won a playoff game. I mean, I'm with you. I hate when people say, "Well, he's never had a losing season."
He was trying to sell me on a quarterback wearing 2 gloves. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Now he's an Eagle.
What are you talking about?
Kenny
2 gloves?
Kenny Pickett's your problem now.
He's not my problem. He's not my regular quarterback. He's my backup quarterback.
Well,
never trust a quarterback that wears a glove on both of his hands.
Thank you. Thank you.
I did love that when people were like, well, the Eagles just got Will Greer. Now Kenny Pickett's going to demand a trade.
Okay. But do you agree with me, Cody? Mike Tomlin is living off of the reputation of coaches that preceded him.
Oh, absolutely. Because he's been there for what? How many years? Toma, what is he? 18 seasons or whatever it is now? Yeah, 100%. And everyone's banking on Russell Wilson to carry the team back to the Super Bowl. Like, come on.
Russell Wilson is horrible. They just exchanged 1 bad quarterback for 2 bad quarterbacks, and everyone's like, "Oh, they're going to be awesome."
I don't know who
are going to suck.
Who are they throwing the ball to? I mean, Deontay Johnson's gone. I mean, cool. There's George Pickens. That's it. He's going to get doubled on every play.
Over the last 2 years, has taken 100 sacks. Like, these guys are terrible. You have the worst quarterback play of all time. I don't understand how anyone thinks the Steelers are going to be good. What am I missing?
I love it. By the way, I wanted to ask you, regular season, does it really matter what the Braves and Dodgers do?
I would say this. They're games that count, but they don't matter because I don't think there's any question that both of those teams have a season that starts in game 1 of the National League Division Series. I think you've characterized them both properly. I think there is enormous pressure on the Dodgers for all of the obvious reasons. Dave Roberts, I think, is managing for his job this year. It's a job that I'm kind of surprised he still has, just to be candid. Yeah. But the Ohtani effect, too, is massive. I mean, this team has had unbelievable regular seasons and fallen short. The Braves, I think, are the same way to some extent, having lost to the Phillies in each of the last 2 years in the playoffs. But that's also an organization that had a ridiculous run of division dominance in the 90s into the early 2000s and had 1 championship to show for it. And we characterize that as a division dynasty, as if it wasn't somehow this big disappointment. Like, to me, winning 1 during that span is a massive disappointment. But what do I know? I do agree with you. I think the Dodgers and the Braves are both teams, like probably the only 2 teams in the whole sport, actually, that if they don't reach at least the Final Four, if not the World Series, stuff has to happen because they've built such unbelievable rosters. And at some point, you can't chalk it up to randomness in the playoffs. I'm kind of not here for that argument anymore over a long period of time.
What you look at the start of the year from a numbers standpoint, are you like, I like these guys? Like, I like these guys.
You're asking for individual players? You're asking for teams? You're asking for what?
Teams.
Okay, so I think So top of head, a team that I would say, higher on than consensus is the Pittsburgh Pirates. And the reason I'm higher on Pittsburgh than consensus.
Now you just brought him back into the conversation.
Yeah, back to life. So just thinking through this out loud, what I've seen from this team so far is a collection of position players, a collection of largely young position players that look like they're going to really play up. Like the top 3 or 4 hitters in that lineup are all really live. Brian Hayes is hitting the cover off of the ball. He's an absolutely outstanding third baseman. Jack Sawinski, I think, has 30 or 35 home run potential. I really do. I really like Henry Davis behind the plate. That's a player who I think has a lot of aptitude. But in the end, I think what might wind up making the big difference for them is that Paul Skeens could have a Steven Strasburg-like effect on the club this year. Paul Skeens is an absolute bleeper. Have you seen him pitch? I mean, if you've not seen Paul Skeens pitch, even if you've not seen him pitch since LSU, he's as good a pitching prospect as I've seen since Steven Strasburg. Now, obviously, we have to preemptively schedule his Tommy John surgery because he's sitting 100 like it's a sim game. It's unbelievable. But in reality, I think that team's going to hit better than people think. Brian Reynolds is a 9-figure stud already. And if they actually get Paul Skeens to make, say, 20, 22, 24 starts in the big league level this year, that's a really weak division. I think we could live in a world in which they win 60% of their division games, come close to splitting the rest, and play meaningful games at middle to end of September. Keep in mind too, that's a 76-win club last year, if memory serves. So they're not coming from 60 where they have to make this sort of cataclysmic jump. They can improve in the margins, improve their run prevention a little bit, improve their run scoring output a considerable amount, and all of a sudden find themselves at the top of a really winnable division.
I say it all the time. I think fans get tired of it. I'm like, stop telling me about your offense. Run prevention. You're speaking my language here. Like, all of a sudden, the A's, we've thought from day one, they're going to be a lot better than last year. We kept saying that. We felt it. A lot of scouts felt it. And then all of a sudden, we get back to Oakland, and the bad vibe and just the breakup and the divorce, and it's just been weighing on everybody, and it's a horrible start. But then all of a sudden they go on the road, and this is the team that we thought they were going to be, right? Take 2 out of 3 from Detroit, win last night in Texas. Then all of a sudden you win tonight, you're 5-7. Now you're getting closer to 500. But you look at the run prevention. All of a sudden the starters are throwing the ball well. All of a sudden the bullpen has been fantastic. It is just amazing when you get your run prevention, which starts with your pitching and then your defense, everything else starts to fall in line, and now you don't need to score a ton of runs to win.
Yeah. The way that I like to put it is your lineup sets your floor, but your run prevention sets your ceiling. And I think teams too often miss the boat on that. In the case of the Oakland A's, I think you guys are actually going to score a decent amount of runs, but I'm with you in terms of how are we going to get 27 outs enough times to have a reasonably good baseball team, especially when you consider, and I know we got to get into this at some point, and God help us, hopefully you guys avoid this bug more than most, but pitchers are falling like left and right, and it's not necessarily in an unprecedented number, but the conversation, the narrative is such that it's at the forefront of everyone's mind. Micro, I think you guys are better than consensus. I played the A's over their preseason win total. I don't remember exactly what it was.
57.5.
There are enough value-positive players in that lineup. I mean, you've got a Hall of Fame catcher now, of course. Anytime you're on the list with Mickey Cochran, I mean, we're talking about the stuff. Mickey Cochran. Like, people in baseball history know Mickey Cochran. You guys got Shea, all right? It's once every 100 years the A's get a Hall of Fame catcher. In all seriousness, though, it's going to be the run prevention for you guys. And it's going to be the run prevention and the injury prevention when it comes to the rest of the league, because that might well determine everything this year. We're going to always have pitchers that are injured, but it's the teams that can find a way to sustain their starting pitching over the course of 162. Not just in terms of dominance, because obviously everyone wants that. But what I want is outs. Can you get me 18 outs every 5th day, dude? Can you get me 21 outs every other start? If you can do that, I agree with you 100%. That's the area in which you can live. If you can prevent runs at that clip and you can get some kind of length out of your starters this year, perhaps more than any other, you got yourself a shot.
Staying in your neighborhood in Manhattan, MLB offices, are we at a point to where they have to be so concerned they have to start really looking into what the hell is going on with all these pitching injuries?
Yes, they absolutely do. But let me ask you a question. I think we can probably universally agree that this is a problem, right? Pitchers blowing out their elbow is a problem, has been a problem. Can you explain to me why Major League Baseball and the union hate each other so much that they'd rather just exchange like pissy prepared statements rather than actually get in a room and talk about it? Because from where I sit, and look, you pitched in college, you know this as well as anyone. You've covered the game for so long. Like, this is a complicated problem, a multifactorial problem. In order to solve those, it takes time. It takes a lot of levers to be pulled, a lot of strings. It takes all sorts of coordination, all sorts of collaboration, and unified leadership. Okay, Major League Baseball has absolutely none of that right now. I mean, we have two sides entrenched in nothing aside from hating each other. It's like tribal warfare politically in our nation. Like, that's what it feels like to me anytime Tony Clark and Major League Baseball talk about something, and this is something that they should agree upon. This is not like how much revenue are we sharing where you can actually get lawyers involved and you can fight about it. This is pitchers are blowing out their elbows. To suggest that it's the pitch clock is obviously ludicrous. But for Major League Baseball to be sort of hacking up what they have too, I found to be petty and beneath them as well. In reality, this is an enormous problem that we can spend hours and hours talking about. Some would argue that Major League Baseball could do things to fix it. You and I both know that this is an issue that starts at the bottom, not the top. This stuff rises from the youth levels all the way to the big leagues. They're putting people on the mound in the big leagues. They're just a product of whoever we send up. The showcase culture and the velocity craze in which we live is just as responsible for the fact that pitchers are blowing out their elbows as anything Major League Baseball is doing. If they had it their way, of course they want starters going 7 innings every night, throwing 110 pitches and finessing the strike zone. That's not the world in which we live anymore because of perfect game and because of driveline and because of all of these sort of pitching laboratories and the sort of culture that we've created in which velocity is first and foremost.
The one thing that I love hearing is that the book comes out in September. That means we can sell it for Christmas, my friend.
Oh, well, every copy that you sell is much appreciated. I will spend all of it at Costco buying diapers, buying baby wipes, buying these weird like rash medicines and lotions and stuff. Like, I don't even know, like, who sleeps with lotion on their behind? Like, this is there's so many things that's on that changing table. Like, I don't even know. Like, my wife was gone for 6 days last week, and like there are all sorts of things. I had to text her. Like, I asked, "Do we own a pencil?" Like, I couldn't find a pencil. So things aren't so great when she's gone for work, and that's where we were last week.
Well, I tell you what, you're in the prime of your career, you're in the prime of your life, and it's great to see. Going to have 3 kids, absolutely amazing. And let me tell you something. You are, I don't think there's anybody like you in our business. But you know what? There's a reason why Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Baseball, it's all your work.
Oh, I thought what you meant was that I'm the only person that still has his elbow intact.
Yeah, mine's still here, but then maybe that's why I didn't make it to the big leagues.
Yeah, maybe so. You and I should have thrown harder, got cut up, and then maybe we'd be talking on a field somewhere. Listen, promise me this. Next time we're on together, we're going to get a nice little length of time, and we're going to dig into all the different attributes of the pitcher injury stuff and the ways in which we can fix it, and also some of the underlying reasons why we got here, because you're a really smart guy. I like the opportunity to unpack things at sort of a more micro level because, look, for as much as I love doing what I do, you can't get into all this stuff on national shows because it's not of interest to the general fan. But you and I could absolutely love that.
I did some investigating today. I have a whole new thing of info that I can get into. Plyo balls. I have basically these throwing programs at the big league level. They know there's tremendous risk, but the teams are willing and the players are willing to do it. So my big question is, and I know we got to go for pregame, but my big question is, does baseball have to not only step in to protect the players, but do they have to protect the players from the front offices?
Kind of sounds like steroids, doesn't it?
Very much so. All right, my friend, you be well. We'll talk soon.
Later, boys.
The great Paul Hembekides from ESPN. Coming up next, it's Rangers, it's A's from Globe Life Field right here on A's Cast and the A's Radio Network.
Looking to stay up to date on all things A's? Head over to athletics.com/A'scast. That's athletics.com/A'scast to listen to A's baseball in full 24/7 coverage of the A's, only on A's Cast. With a single click, you can stream great shows, live pre- and post-game coverage, and of course, all the great action of the A's this season. Head to athletics.com/A'scast today.
This has been a presentation of the Oakland Athletics.